Chapter 1, Happy to be a father? Ha! What's so heavy? I can't breathe. Suddenly, Lin Xian realized something was wrong and hurriedly opened his eyes. He saw a beautiful woman with a graceful figure, delicate features, fair skin, and beautiful black hair scattered casually lying on top of him. Her thin lips were as delicate as rose petals, making people want to kiss her passionately. What's going on? Why am I sleeping with a woman? What is this? Li Mengyao? The innocent school flower of Qinghai University? Lin Xian thought of the dorm party yesterday. He didn't know which son of a bitch suggested going to a bar and spending the whole time paying the bill. So Lin Xian, who was not good at drinking, quickly got drunk, and vaguely remembered a woman throwing herself into his arms. Sigh. Losing your virginity after drinking. Lin Xian couldn't help but sigh. At that moment, the beautiful woman in his arms lightly fluttered her eyes, and a pair of large eyes with an elegant air, decorated with long eyelashes, slowly opened. They looked at each other, feeling very awkward. Then the woman let out a scream, and Li Mengyao sat up hurriedly, glaring at Lin Xian. Seeing that Lin Xian was still staring at her, Li Mengyao realized that she was so angry that she grabbed a pillow and threw it at Lin Xian. Stop looking. Turn around quickly, don't look. Lin Xian then came back to his senses from the indescribable scene just now, and his nose blood almost spurted out. Okay, I won't look. I will be responsible for you. Li Mengyao quickly picked up her clothes, hurriedly dressed, and left the room without looking back. Without a word to Lin Xian. Leaving already? Never mind, they're both adults. Lin Xian wanted to explain, but the other person didn't give him the chance. He simply got up and tidied up, but then noticed a bloody stain on the bedsheet that stood out. 2 months later. June 2024, Qinghai City People's Hospital. Please go to medical room 6 to see patient Lin Xian, number 66. The relentless hospital recorder sounded. A man with a height of 182 centimeters, tall and slender, and a handsome appearance stood up and walked slowly forward. The little nurse next to him seemed to be staring straight ahead, and she gently touched the arm of the other little nurse with her hand. Look, there's a handsome guy, hurry up and secretly take a picture with your phone. Wow, he really is handsome. Cover for me while I take a photo. Should I get his contact information? He's so fair and delicate. Let's go together. With that, the two nurses walked up to Lin Xian. Although the two nurses had already whispered very quietly, Lin Xian heard them. However, he was used to this and had been publicly confessed to many times in college, which had embarrassed him a lot. Hello, may I have your contact information? Lin Xian looked at the two little nurses with a pair of bright, deep eyes and smiled. Sorry, I like men. After saying that, Lin Xian walked past the two little nurses and quickly entered medical room 6. Hello, young man, what's wrong? A middle-aged man in a white coat with a Mediterranean haircut looked at Lin Xian. Hello, doctor, I've been feeling a bit of liver pain lately. Let me take your pulse. Okay. Lin Xian obediently held out his arm, and the doctor began to take his pulse, but then frowned and let out a soft sigh. Alas! Lin Xian's heart trembled. Could it be that he has a terminal illness? I should have known not to stay up late playing games recently. Doctor, why did you sigh? Is there something seriously wrong? The doctor rubbed his eyes and said. Ha? No, I'm just tired from work. Young man, you must have stayed up late a lot recently, not paying attention to rest, which is causing your liver pain. Yes, I've been sleeping late recently, and I always feel very weak. I'll prescribe some Chinese herbal medicine. Just go home, pay attention to your rest and take the medicine on time. Young people shouldn't stay up late all the time, it's not good for your health. Okay, thank you, doctor. After saying goodbye to the doctor, Lin Xian took the prescription and walked towards the medicine collection window. He wondered if he had taken on too many projects recently. During the day, he had been coding and writing programs non-stop, and at night, the 3 boys in his dormitory kept shouting. Dad, take me flying in the canyon tonight. Dad, I want to be a god today. Dad, I want to score big. A good father is one who wins, a bad father is one who loses. There was no way around it, as the strongest king, Lin Xian naturally had to pamper his good son. So every night he galloped on horseback in Summoner's Canyon, taking the lead. It seemed that in the future he would have to take on fewer projects, after all, his son and his life were more important. As he passed the maternity ward, Lin Xian glanced over. Suddenly, a strange but familiar figure appeared in Lin Xian's field of vision. Li Mengyao was wearing a cream-colored dress with white canvas shoes, a golden height of 168 centimeters, and her black and shiny hair was draped over her shoulders like a waterfall. Her face was slightly flushed and she looked at the medical examination sheet in her hands with a look of shock. Was it her? Why was she in the obstetrics and gynecology department? Could it be? Lin Xian recalled that night 2 months ago and felt a sense of foreboding. He hurriedly walked up. The ultrasound report read, 8 weeks pregnant. Li Mengyao covered her rosy lips and muttered. How could this be, pregnant at once? Obviously, the stunned Li Mengyao did not notice Lin Xian. Is this child mine? Lin Xian asked in shock. Ah. It's you. Li Mengyao was startled at first, and her body leaned back involuntarily. After 2 months, that face was still impressive and unforgettable. Immediately afterwards, feelings of grievance welled up in her heart, and tears welled up in her eyes as she sobbed quietly. Lin Xian could not bear to see a girl cry in front of him. At the same time, many people in the hospital looked over here, and could not help but sigh, another scumbag. Lin Xian already felt that everyone was looking at him with the same look of amusement they would give a monkey. Don't cry, everyone will think I'm bullying you. Lin Xian panicked instantly. Li Mengyao's tears fell like rain, her eyes red and puffy, her hands clenched tightly together. You are bullying me. This child is yours. I'm a happy father? Soul stirring? Lin Xian was shocked. Li Mengyao continued to cry softly when suddenly a strange voice echoed in Lin Xian's mind. Ding, the God-level daddy system is linking. Link successful. Congratulations, host, for activating the God-level daddy system. Without a doubt, the child before you is your masterpiece. And they are even twins. Congratulations to the host for activating the God-level daddy system for the first time and receiving the newcomer gift package. Reward, 100,000 yuan in startup funds for parenting, please check. Reward, a comprehensive knowledge of pregnancy, please check. Reward, 100% increase in human attributes, please check. Chapter 2, Paternity Test. System? What's a system? Lin Xian, who had never read a novel on tomato, naturally had no idea what a system was. Ding dong. Lin Xian opened his phone and saw that 100,000 yuan had arrived in his Alipay account. Then the world's most comprehensive pregnancy knowledge suddenly rushed into Lin Xian's brain. Lin Xian is already an excellent pregnancy expert. Wait, there seems to be something wrong with my body. An invisible force surged into my body, as if I had opened the 2 main energy channels. I'm full of energy. Now I can knock out a cow with 1 punch. This seems to be true. It's possible that someone else set up the 100,000 yuan payment into Alipay, but the comprehensive pregnancy knowledge and enhanced physical fitness cannot be faked. How could such a good system fall to me? Could it be that I am the chosen one? Lin Xian was still gloating over here. Li Mengyao saw Lin Xian frowning tightly and not saying a word, and choked. You don't believe me, do you? If you don't believe me, we can do a paternity test. Lin Xian then came to his senses, looked at the school flower in front of him, who was tearfully weeping, and then took out a pack of tissue paper from his pocket and handed it over. Don't cry for now, wipe your tears first. I will take responsibility for what I have done. If it is mine, I will take responsibility to the end. Lin Xian marveled at this amazing system, but he was not 100% sure that the school beauty queen was pregnant with his child. These days, there are many people willing to take over responsibility for other people's messes. Lin Xian's firm reply made Li Mengyao pause for a moment. She lifted her petite jade hands, took the tissue, and gently wiped away her tears. Okay, let's go now. After a long wait of 3 hours, the doctor announced nonchalantly. Mr. Lin, the results of the paternity test for you and Ms. Li's baby are 99.99%. Confirming paternity. They are so young and already preparing to become parents. The young people nowadays are really open-minded. The doctor couldn't help but sigh. However, why did they still need to do a paternity test? Could it be? The doctor looked at Lin Xian with a strange look. Lin Xian pretended to be calm as he held the paternity test report in his hands, but he couldn't help but break into a cold sweat. It's over, I've made a big mistake, I'm really going to be a father. Lin Xian looked back at Li Mengyao, whose eyes were red, and felt even more guilty. Okay, thank you, doctor. It was almost 12 noon when Lin Xian and Li Mengyao left the hospital. Mengyao, what are you going to do next? Gurgle. Li Mengyao's stomach made an uncontrollable sound. She hadn't even had breakfast in order to go to the hospital for the morning checkup. Li Mengyao clasped her hands together, and her face couldn't help but flush. Mengyao, let's find somewhere to eat first. Mengyao nodded. Lin Xian opened his phone to call an online car service, and within 5 minutes, the car arrived at the hospital. Lin Xian opened the car door for Mengyao very gentlemanly. After Mengyao was seated, he carefully closed the door, then walked around to the other side and got in. Driver, go to the Peace Hotel. Young man, did you have a fight with your girlfriend? The driver looked back through the rearview mirror at Lin Xian and Li Mengyao sitting in the back seat and guessed the situation. He started the car and couldn't help but laugh. Brother, as someone who's been there, you need to be more understanding with your girlfriend. Lin Xian's face flushed. You're right, brother. I've coaxed her out to dinner. After saying that, he glanced at Li Mengyao. He saw Li Mengyao's elegant eyes lightly blink, her pretty head turned towards the window, and a blush spread across her beautiful face. Lin Xian smiled at Li Mengyao. We're here. Remember to give me a good review, young man. Okay, no problem. Lin Xian agreed cheerfully. Lin Xian and Li Mengyao got out of the car and walked quickly into the Peace Hotel. This Peace Hotel has a very good taste, the food is delicious and not expensive, and the hygiene is also very good. I often came here to eat during my 4 years of university. Lin Xian found a window seat and asked Li Mengyao to sit down first. Oh, thank you. Lin Xian took the menu and handed it to Li Mengyao, smiling. You must be starving, so order whatever you like, but no raw food. Li Mengyao blinked her beautiful eyes, lifted her small hand and made a few marks on the menu. I've ordered, see if you need anything else. Lin Xian took the menu and glanced at it, exclaiming that no wonder the school beauty had such a great figure, ordering so little even though she hadn't eaten breakfast. Hello, we would like a portion of beef brisket with tomatoes, shrimp tofu, stir-fried beef with bell peppers, steamed sea bass, and an egg pudding. The waiter took the menu and smiled, saying, Okay, please wait a moment. Lin Xian looked at the charming Li Mengyao. Mengyao, I will take responsibility. Are you willing to give birth to the child? Li Mengyao arranged her soft hair. How are you going to take responsibility? We haven't graduated yet, we don't have a job, and we don't have a stable source of income. Lin Xian is a genius in the School of Computer Science at Jinghai University. He has won the gold medal in the ACM International Collegiate Programming Contest and is also very handsome. Li Mengyao is a major in Chinese language and literature and is recognized as the school flower of Jinghai University. Both are fourth-year students and are nearing graduation. I have been doing some part-time jobs since my freshman year, and I have also received scholarships of various sizes during college. I have saved quite a bit of money now. In the future, I will work even harder to earn money and give you and the baby a warm home. Lin Xian smiled and said a lot, his tone very resolute, afraid that Li Mengyao would refuse him. Seeing Lin Xian speak so much at once, Li Mengyao laughed, her big, watery eyes flashing with a gentle light. This is what you said. I'm going to have the baby. Li Mengyao gently stroked her stomach and revealed a smile. Stupid Lin Xian, of course, didn't know that Li Mengyao had fallen in love with him since the first year of university. Not only was he handsome and good-looking, he was also very capable. Otherwise, she would not have been dragged to drink by her roommate for the first time, and then drunk and thrown herself into Lin Xian's arms. Followed by something that cannot be described in words. The food is here. The waiter arrived late. At the table, Lin Xian kept on serving Li Mengyao, and her small bowl was always full. After lunch, the two took an online car service back to Jinghai University. Lin Xian walked Li Mengyao to the bottom of the dormitory building and said tenderly, You worked hard today, go back and rest. Tomorrow I'll take you to the hospital for a comprehensive examination. A trace of happiness flashed across Li Mengyao's face. Okay. Lin Xian's face broke into a smile, and he hummed a song all the way back to the dormitory. When he returned to dormitory 622 and opened the door, 3 little heads crowded forward at once. Lin Xian, where have you been? Did you go on a date with some schoolgirl? And you didn't even invite me. Lin Xian gently patted his son's heads, mind your own business. Hey, you're embarrassing me, aren't you? Brothers, let's get him together. A friendly interaction between dormitories thus began. In the afternoon, Lin Xian continued working on his previous project and finished it ahead of schedule, earning an additional 10,000 yuan. Together with the 100,000 yuan he had previously received from the system, he now had more than 200,000 yuan in his piggy bank. Well, he needed to find time to rent a place outside the dormitory. Li Mengyao was pregnant and could not continue living in the dormitory. In the evening, Lin Xian once again led his sons to dominate Summoner's Canyon and won 5 games in a row. Unwilling to accept defeat, Lin Xian was just about to lie down and rest when then a crisp voice came from the system again. Ding dong, it has been detected that the host needs to take the baby for a comprehensive examination to facilitate the host's travel. A top-of-the-line Xiaomi SU7 will be rewarded. It has been parked in the parking lot of Zone C of Jinghai University. Please check. Chapter 3. So, we're living together? This system is quite user-friendly. It even knows what the host needs right now. Xiaomi SU7? The recently popular Baoshiji? Let's go to the parking lot tomorrow and take a look. The next day, Lin Xian woke up and noticed an exquisite set of car keys on the table. Without thinking too much, he picked up the keys and went straight to the school parking lot. Soon, in an inconspicuous corner, Lin Xian found a purple Xiaomi SU7. It has to be said, the appearance is still very cool, with smooth lines and a simple, generous design that gives a sense of style and technology. The color, purple radiance, adds a unique charm, and it is worthy of being the king of cost performance. Lin Xian excitedly opened the car door, got into the driver's seat, and took out his phone, pressing the dial button. Hello, Lin Xian? Li Mengyao's voice was soft and gentle, as if she hadn't yet woken up. Mengyao, have you woken up? Just now. Then let's go to the hospital together for a pregnancy test. The first 3 months are the most critical period. I'll pick you up downstairs from the dormitory. Okay, then wait for me for 10 minutes while I get ready. Li Mengyao felt a warm feeling in her heart and was very happy, which showed that Lin Xian still cared about her and the baby in her belly. Lin Xian drove the Xiaomi SU7 directly to the bottom of Li Mengyao's dormitory. Along the way, many students took out their phones and took a lot of random photos of the Xiaomi SU7. Although the top-of-the-line Xiaomi SU7 only costs 300,000 yuan. But its appearance is so good that it attracts a lot of attention. After a while, Li Mengyao came running down from her dormitory. She was wearing a light blue dress with a plain-colored belt with a few crystals on it around her waist. Lin Xian hurriedly went up to her and reminded her, slow down, don't fall. Li Mengyao gave a small smile and said, it's okay, I'm watching out for you. I kept you waiting. Lin Xian stared at Li Mengyao with a smile, and said, you really look good today. Li Mengyao's face flushed, and she whispered, and yesterday? You look better and better every day. Oomph, you're so smooth. Let's go. Okay. Lin Xian took Li Mengyao to the Mi SU7, opened the door, and said gently, wife, please get in. Li Mengyao's face instantly turned red, and she muttered, who is your wife? Nevertheless, she obediently got into the passenger seat. At the moment, a layer of shy blush rose on her delicate little face, as beautiful and moving as a blooming peach blossom. After Lin Xian got into the driver's seat, Li Mengyao couldn't help but ask, Lin Xian, did you just buy this car? Yes. Mengyao, you should have a driver's license, right? Yes. Li Mengyao nodded. Then you can drive the car from now on. It's convenient for you and the baby. Ha? No, I'm not familiar with driving, and besides, if I drive it, you won't have a car to drive. Li Mengyao shook her head gently. I have another car. It's settled, and I'll teach you how to drive. After saying that, Lin Xian started the car and drove towards Jinghai City People's Hospital. The other car Lin Xian was referring to was actually a small electric moped that had accompanied him for more than 3 years. When they arrived at the hospital, Lin Xian accompanied Li Mengyao to start the pregnancy test. There was actually no need for a special test at about 8 weeks of pregnancy. First, an ultrasound was performed to see if the size of the gestational sac in the uterine cavity matched the gestational age, and whether there was any fetal bud development and cardiac pulsation in the gestational sac. Then routine tests such as blood routine, urine routine, hepatitis B triple system, blood glucose, and liver function were performed. Soon after, the test report came out, and everything about the embryo's development was normal. Just as Lin Xian and Li Mengyao were about to leave, a figure suddenly appeared in front of them. Xian? Why are you here? Zhou Quan looked at the two of them with curiosity. Zhou Quan is Lin Xian's roommate, and he happened to come for a physical examination today, and unexpectedly ran into Lin Xian, and it was still in the obstetrics and gynecology department. I'll be right back. Lin Xian smiled at Li Mengyao. Li Mengyao whispered. Quaner, why are you here? Lin Xian slowly walked towards Zhou Quan. Good boy, you've hooked up with the school beauty behind my back? No wonder you've been going out a lot lately, and now you're in the obstetrics department of the hospital. Tell me the truth. Zhou Quan grinned wickedly. Find a place tonight, I'll treat, and you have to call me sister-in-law. You said it, let's see us rip you off. Who told you to do great things in silence? Go back to your work, I'll talk to you tonight. Before leaving, Zhou Quan shouted to Li Mengyao not far away, bye, sister-in-law. And disappeared in a flash. Lin Xian returned to Li Mengyao's side and saw that her face could not help but flush. He is my roommate, it's getting late, let's go back. Okay, Li Mengyao's beautiful eyes blinked. Ding dong, the host has been detected as the baby's first pregnancy test. Reward, a set of furniture for the 1601st floor of Building A in Jinwan District. All the paperwork has been taken care of, so you can move in right away. Ding dong, host detected. You have gifted Li Mengyao a Xiaomi Su7, and received a hidden system reward. Reward, a Maybach S680, already parked in the Jinwan District parking lot. Host, as long as you let Li Mengyao and the babies be happy, the system will continue to provide generous rewards. Lin Xian heard the system's crisp voice in his head again. The system is really something, not to mention the reward of another luxury car, a Maybach S680 worth more than 3 million yuan. The Golden Bay Mansion is also an upscale residential area in Jinghai City, and a unit in this building can cost more than 8 million yuan. Lin Xian's net worth has almost reached 10 million yuan, and he has suddenly become a wealthy person, which makes him very excited. This is also thanks to Li Mengyao. If she hadn't agreed to give birth to the baby, Lin Xian would not have received the favor of the system. Mengyao, let's go. Lin Xian returned to reality and said to Li Mengyao, who was a little drowsy. She must not have slept enough in the morning. During pregnancy, she would generally like to sleep. Lin Xian extended his hand, gently took the fair hand, and looked at the other person with a smile on his face. It was the first time he had held Li Mengyao's hand, and it was soft and tender. Li Mengyao was startled by the sudden hand-holding, and a blush spread across her face, while also flashing a hint of happiness. Well, let's go. The two returned to the Xiaomi Su7, and Lin Xian started the car, while Li Mengyao fell asleep directly in the car. If Li Mengyao hadn't fallen asleep, she would have noticed that Lin Xian had already bypassed Jinghai University and was running all the way down the streets of Jinghai City without speeding. Dear Jinwan Mansion owners, welcome home. A crisp voice woke Li Mengyao up. Ha? Where is this? Isn't this the school? Li Mengyao raised her hand and rubbed her eyes gently. Seeing the tall building in front of her, she couldn't help but be slightly stunned. This isn't the school, it's in Jinwan Mansion, our future home. Lin Xian smiled slightly. Our future home? You bought a house? Li Mengyao slightly opened her lips, shocked. Yes, you are pregnant, and it's definitely not okay to keep living in the dormitory, and we're almost graduating. So I bought a flat, so that it's convenient for me to take care of you guys on a daily basis. Lin Xian looked at each other with a gentle face. That must have cost a lot of money, where did you get so much money? Li Mengyao pursed her lips. I forgot to mention before, I started investing when I was a freshman, and all this was earned from investment. Lin Xian said with confidence. So let's find time to move in later. Li Mengyao's pretty face turned red, so we're moving in together? Chapter 4, Li's mother calls. Isn't this a bit too fast? We've only met for the second time and we're already living together. Just as Li Mengyao was still daydreaming, Lin Xian had already parked the car safely in the community parking lot. Lin Xian saw that Li Mengyao was still worried and cute, and couldn't help but reach out and gently pinch the snow-white, soft face. Wife, what are you thinking about so intently? Lin Xian said with a gentle face. Who is your wife? Not yet. Li Mengyao's face instantly turned red, and while one hand knocked away the on her face, she raised the other hand and pounced on Lin Xian's soft waist, then twisted hard. Hiss. It hurts. Honey, be gentle. You're still screaming. Li Mengyao pretended to want to continue increasing the intensity. Lin Xian wouldn't give her the chance, grabbed the pink and delicate hand, and smiled. Stop it, let's go up and take a look at the house. Li Mengyao pursed her lips slightly and gave up. The two got out of the car, and Li Mengyao quickly noticed a long and slender Maybach S680 parked not far away. As expected, it was a high-end residential area, and just a casual glance revealed a luxury car. Lin Xian naturally saw it as well, but he didn't say anything, reached out and took Li Mengyao's hand, and walked towards the elevator. Soon, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao arrived at the house in Jinwan Mansion. It was a large flat with an internal area of 200 square meters. The interior was decorated in a modern minimalist style, using a combination of gray and white colors. It had 5 bedrooms and 2 living rooms, and the furniture was also complete. Li Mengyao walked to the large balcony. At a glance, she saw the afterglow of the river view, which draped a golden veil over the river's surface. The gentle June wind blew across the girl's face, making the whole scene warm and romantic. Lin Xian saw such a beautiful scene and finally couldn't help but walk up to her, put his arms around her and gently held her in his arms. Li Mengyao was startled at first, but she didn't struggle. Instead, her delicate face flushed again and she asked softly, "This house must have cost a lot of money." "Well, more than 8 million. Lin Xian savored the fragrance of the young girl. "You bought a car and a house, and I can't give you anything." "I feel so useless," Li Mengyao muttered as she lowered her head. Lin Xian gently turned Li Mengyao around, looked at her with deep, bright eyes, and said in a firm tone, "Who says it's useless? You and the baby in your belly are the greatest gift. Wife, you gave me a home. I will also do my best to protect this home." As their love deepened, Lin Xian looked at Li Mengyao, whose eyes were misty and full of love, and slowly lowered his head, slowly approaching the tempting cherry lips. Li Mengyao was also flustered for a moment. Her heart began to pound, and she closed her eyes, letting Lin Xian do whatever he wanted. Suddenly, a phone ringing interrupted the two. Li Mengyao instantly regained her senses, gently pushed Lin Xian away, and hurriedly said, "Let me take this call." Li Mengyao hurriedly opened her phone, which was her mother Huang Shifang's call, and pressed the answer button. "Hello. Yo-yo, what have you been busy with lately?" "Huh? Mom, I haven't been busy lately," Li Mengyao explained in a flustered manner. "Why are you speaking in such a flustered manner? Are you hiding something from your mother?" As a mother, she knows her own daughter best, and she could tell right away that something was wrong. "Has someone been bullying you?" "No." Because Lin Xian was close by, he could hear the conversation clearly. Seeing Li Mengyao's nervous expression, Lin Xian couldn't help but laugh out loud. Li Mengyao glared at him, then raised her hand and twisted it again at Lin Xian's waist. "Sigh. Has Yao Yao got a boyfriend?" Li's mother had already guessed the situation when she heard the sound of a boy's voice next to her daughter. "Well," Li Mengyao blushed and hesitated. "Good, it's time for you to get a boyfriend in college." "How is he?" "He's very nice. If you're free next week, bring him back so I can take a good look at him." It's not true to say that she wasn't worried when her daughter, who was studying far away at university, suddenly got a boyfriend. Li's mother had to check him out personally. "I'll ask him later then." "Okay, then I won't bother you anymore." After hanging up the phone, Li Mengyao looked at Lin Xian with fierce eyes. "It's all your fault. My mom found out. It was only a matter of time. I was prepared to have my legs broken." Lin Xian said shamelessly. "So will you go back with me next week?" Li Mengyao's hands were clenched tightly together. "We'll go back together. We stole someone's precious daughter, so of course we have to pay a personal visit. Let's prepare to move in tomorrow," Lin Xian said with a gentle smile. "Okay," Li Mengyao gave a sweet smile. Afterwards, the two prepared to drive to a nearby shopping mall for dinner. When they arrived at the parking lot downstairs, Li Mengyao was about to take out the car keys, but Lin Xian stopped her. "Let's just park the Xiaomi Su7 in the community parking lot and take my car." "Do you have another car?" Li Mengyao asked doubtfully. "Yes, here, this one." Lin Xian pointed to the Maybach S680 not far away, took out the car key to unlock it, and the car started. The headlight shone out a unique beam of light, dazzling like a meteor shower. "This Maybach is yours." Li Mengyao slightly opened her lips, her big, round almond-shaped eyes blinking. Lin Xian took Li Mengyao's hand, walked over to the passenger seat, settled in, sat in the driver's seat, started the car, and drove towards the mall. When they arrived at their destination, Li Mengyao finally couldn't hold back any longer and asked, "What else are you hiding from me?" "Nothing, didn't I say before that I had another car to drive?" Lin Xian replied gently. but this car looks brand new to me. I just washed it yesterday. Lin Xian replied with a determined face. He couldn't say that it was given to him by the system. Humph, I'll believe you for now. I don't like people lying to me, especially those close to me. Li Mangyao lowered her head and whispered. Honey, I will definitely consult you about things in the future, okay? Because Li Mangyao likes to eat fish, the two of them walked hand in hand into a grilled fish restaurant in the mall. After lunch, Li Mangyao was already feeling drowsy, so Lin Xian drove her back to her dormitory at the university, and he himself returned to the doghouse of his university life for more than 3 years. I'm home, boys. Lin Xian kicked open the door and grinned. That's him, the guy who stole the school flower. Zhou Quan pretended to be angry and pointed at Lin Xian. You little brat, you dared to do something big behind your father's back. Zhang Zixing agreed. Tell the truth, and we might go easy on you. Chen Jinming said with a sneer. Lin Xian was then surrounded by the three of them. Chapter 5, 5-Star Chef. Lin Xian told the whole truth about what had happened. They had been living together for almost 4 years as brothers, knew each other inside and out, and had nothing to hide. Of course, he didn't say anything about the system, and the key was that no one would believe it. Was the case. Lin Xian shrugged. Huh? I didn't hear you right, did I? Zhang Zixing said in shock. I wondered why I saw you and the school beauty in the obstetrics and gynecology department of the People's Hospital, and it turned out to be Zhou Quan. Man, you're like a rocket, so fast. My girlfriend and I have been dating for 2 years and we haven't even gotten that far yet. Chen Jingming put a hand on Lin Xian's shoulder and laughed heartily. Keep this a secret for now, I don't want to become the enemy of all the boys on campus. Tomorrow, Meng Yao and I are moving out, and I'll buy the whole table tonight. Lin Xian smiled. Cut the crap, let's go to the bar, I'll treat you to a good meal tonight. It was normal for seniors to move out, so the group didn't ask where Lin Xian was moving to, thinking he was just finding a rental nearby. Quaner, save your big moves for the new year. You don't understand, I'm waiting for the right moment. That night, the entire 622 dormitory went out together. Zhou Quan had just opened his phone to order a ride-hailing app when Lin Xian stopped him. We'll drive there. Where did we get a car? Zhou Quan asked, puzzled. I just bought it. Don't move from here, I'll be right back. Just as the three of them were wondering what kind of car Lin Xian had bought, a long, slender Maybach slowly pulled up, its window rolled down to reveal a handsome face. Get in. Isn't this a Maybach? A luxury car worth more than 3 million yuan. Xian, you're so rich? I never thought you were stingy, you're a deep person. The three of them looked dumbfounded. My family just bought it, it'll be convenient for taking the kids around. Lin Xian explained with a smile. Then Lin Xian drove to the restaurant where they often went for dinner in their university dormitory. You're here, sit down, I've reserved a private room for you. You're almost graduating from university, right? The proprietress warmly welcomed them. Yes, even after graduation, you can still come here often. Zhou Quan smiled. Just don't forget to come back then, and I'll give you a discount. The proprietress smiled and said. This restaurant has a unique taste, and the proprietress often gives discounts to Lin Xian and the others, so the dormitory often comes here for dinner parties. After the proprietress left, Lin Xian said to the three of them, You're almost graduating from university, what are you going to do next? I've already registered for the civil service exam and will join the ranks of the civil service exam candidates. I'll become a small civil servant in the future, Zhou Quan said firmly. My girlfriend and I have both been admitted to graduate school and will continue our studies at Jinghai University in the future. Chen Jingming smiled. I want to prepare to start a business, but unfortunately I don't have the platform or the funds. I'd better go to a company first, Zhang Zixing said helplessly. Xian, what about you? What are you going to do after graduation? Zhou Quan looked at Lin Xian. I'll take care of the baby full-time first, Lin Xian said with a smile. Damn you, you're here again, Zhou Quan, who was in Versailles, complained. In fact, Lin Xian had initially wanted to start a business with Zhang Zixing. After all, the two were the top computer science students at Jinghai University. But plans cannot keep up with changes. Now Lin Xian just wants to devote himself to taking care of Li Mangyao and the baby in her belly. He can only wait for a chance in the future. Here comes the food. The four people devoured their food in a hurry. The next day, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao made an appointment to move their luggage to Jinwan Mansion together at 10 a.m. Lin Xian drove the Maybach slowly towards the women's dormitory and soon saw a familiar figure downstairs. Today, Li Mengyao was wearing a plain shirt with a denim skirt, looking fresh and pleasant, like the cool morning breeze, refreshing. My wife really looks good in everything, huh? Why is there another girl next to her? She is tall and has delicate features, exuding a kind of cold beauty, and her sharp eyes reveal a hint of hostility. Lin Xian opened the car door, walked quickly to Li Mengyao's side, gently took her hand, and said tenderly, I told you to wait until I got here before calling you down, right? Did you wait long? Li Mengyao's face flushed slightly. No, we just got down here too. By the way, this is my roommate Lu Yusen, she insisted on coming with us. Hello, I'm Lin Xian, Li Mengyao's husband. Lin Xian smiled. So you're the one who stole my Yao Yao away? Seeing Lin Xian and Li Mengyao holding hands, she said angrily. Lu Yusen thought Lin Xian was really handsome, driving a Maybach, and thought that his family condition should not be bad, but nowadays many rich second-generation men are very fickle, so as Yao Yao's best friend, she must guard the door well. Yes, I will take care of Yao Yao from now on. Lin Xian said firmly. Dream on. If you want Yao Yao, you have to get past me first. Didn't you want Yao Yao to move in with you? I want to go and see for myself if you can take care of Yao Yao. After saying this, Lu Yusen grabbed Yao Yao's suitcase and walked towards the car. Lin Xian looked helpless, holding Li Mengyao's hand and following behind. This time, Li Mengyao didn't sit in the passenger seat, but sat in the back row with Lu Yusen. The car slowly started, and in no time it arrived at the gates of Jinwan Mansion. Lu Yusen looked at the gate in front of her in surprise. Jinwan Mansion is a famous high-end residential area in Jinghai City. It has a beautiful environment, is located in a prosperous area, and offers a beautiful view of the river. Although Lin Xian is indeed quite capable, it is unclear how he feels about Yao Yao, and whether he will grow tired of her. Ding dong, the host has been detected as a baby moving for the first time. In order for the host to take better care of the baby in the future, a 5-star culinary skills manual is awarded, please check. Instantly, all kinds of culinary knowledge from all over the world flooded into Lin Xian's brain. Lin Xian is now the most versatile 5-star chef. In fact, Lin Xian never wanted Li Mengyao to eat outside food. After all, she is pregnant. What if the outside food is not clean and affects the baby? This 5-star chef has come at the right time. It's almost time for lunch, so I'll show off my skills at noon. Honey, you and your best friend can rest at home for a while, and I'll go to the market and buy some ingredients. By the way, what do you want to eat? Lin Xian smiled. You can cook? Lu Yusen looked at him doubtfully. There are really very few men who can cook nowadays. I can do it, and I like everything you cook. A hint of happiness flashed across Li Mengyao's face. Yo, I'm still here. Lu Yusen looked at Li Mengyao speechlessly and then said, I want sweet and sour pork, poached pork, braised beef brisket with potatoes, and braised fish. Okay, I'll be right back. Lin Xian put on his shoes and was about to go out. Suddenly, a petite figure burst into Lin Xian's arms, accompanied by a faint fragrance. Come back early. Li Mengyao lowered her head and held Lin Xian tightly with both hands. Good wife. Lin Xian reached out and gently stroked Li Mengyao's hair. Li Mengyao then let go of his hands, blushing all over as she ran back to her room. Chapter 6 Li Mengyao's family. What's that stench? It's the sour stench of love. Lu Yusen looked at what had just happened with disdain. Yusen, stop it. Li Mengyao's face turned red. I said, Yo, why are you so willing to give in? You're already living with Lin Xian. You are the school beauty of Jinghai University, and you are alone with a man in the same room. What if he treats you badly? He won't. He treats me very well and has always taken care of me. Besides, I have liked Lin Xian for a long time. Li Mengyao muttered. Sigh, you are so in love. But you can't be so fast. Are you hiding something from me? Lu Yusen stared at Li Mengyao. No, I don't. Li Mengyao's hands were clenched together tightly, her face red as she stammered an explanation, not daring to look the other person in the eye. You're lying, tell me or I'll make trouble. Lu Yusen looked at her with a sneer. Li Mengyao and Lu Yusen had known each other for almost 4 years, and as good friends, they could tell at a glance that Li Mengyao was lying. Ha, stop it, it tickles. Lu Yusen pounced on Li Mengyao, putting her hands around the other person's waist and tickling her non-stop. Tell me. I'll tell you. Ha ha ha. Li Mengyao had no choice but to surrender. She was most afraid of being tickled. Li Mengyao wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes as she said shyly. Actually, I'm pregnant. Huh? I didn't hear you right. Lu Yusin was shocked, her mouth wide open. It's been more than 2 months. Li Mengyao then told Lu Yusin what had happened. In that case, Lin Xian is still responsible. But I can warn you, you two are living together, so you have to hold on. Lin Xian won't do that. You're so beautiful, who knows if he'll lose control one day. No, he won't. Li Mengyao's face instantly turned red. At that moment, the sound of the door opening came from the entrance, and Lin Xian walked in carrying a large bag. You're back. Li Mengyao walked quickly up to Lin Xian and reached out to take the bag. I'll do it. What are you two chatting about? Your faces are so red. Lin Xian gently pinched Li Mengyao's pretty face with his hand. I'm not telling you. Li Mengyao pursed her lips slightly, looking proud and arrogant. I'll go cook dinner first, it won't take long. Lin Xian had no choice but to go into the kitchen and start cooking. It was a reward from the system, and just looking at the ingredients, she knew exactly how to cook them. Whether it was stir-frying, grilling, steaming, braising, she was proficient in all of it. The system had also provided the apartment with complete furniture, all of it top brands. Before long, a delicious smell wafted from the kitchen, like an invisible hand drawing Li Mengyao and Lu Yusin towards it. It's time to serve. The dining table was filled with delicious dishes arranged by Lin Xian. Wow, this is delicious, he's practically a 5-star chef. Lu Yusin couldn't help exclaiming as she stuffed a piece of beef brisket into her mouth. Li Mengyao was also eating in small bites. Yeah, you're really going to be happy in the future, with a chef by your side every day. Well, Li Mengyao didn't expect Lin Xian to be able to cook at a chef level, and her face was filled with happiness. Lin Xian took a bite, and the rich taste and strong fragrance made everyone intoxicated with every bite. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully completing a delicious meal for Li Mengyao and the babies. A reward of 500,000 yuan in cash has been transferred to the host's bank card through regular and legal means. Please check. Lin Xian heard the system's voice in his head again. The system was as awesome as ever, offering a reward of 3 million yuan at once. After lunch, Lin Xian drove Lu Yusin back to school. Lin Xian drove quietly and glanced at Lu Yusin sitting in the back seat through the rearview mirror. I said, why are you staring at me all the time? Lin Xian said helplessly. When are you going to get married? Yao Yao is pregnant with your child, you have to give her a title. You know about it? Lin Xian was a little surprised. Of course, Yao Yao and I are best friends who tell each other everything. Lu Yusin looked pleased. We are going back to Mengyao's hometown together next week, and when we get the approval of her mother-in-law, we will get married. Lin Xian said firmly. Okay, I'll leave Yao Yao in your hands. Yao Yao's family is not very good. Her father died in a car accident early on, leaving only her and her mother, so Yao Yao lacks a sense of security. She hasn't mentioned any of this to me yet. Lin Xian said with a sad heart. Don't look at her usually gentle and weak appearance, in fact, she is very strong inside, and sometimes very stubborn. Since she has decided to follow you, you should treat her well. If you dare to bully Yao Yao, I will not let you off. Lu Yusin waved her little pink fists. I know that no amount of words can compare to actual actions. I will definitely not let down Meng Yao, and you can supervise me at any time. After safely delivering Lu Yusin, Lin Xian immediately returned to Jinwan Mansion. I'm back. There was no response, so Lin Xian walked inside and found Li Mengyao asleep on the sofa. She must have been waiting for Lin Xian to return and fell asleep in a daze. At this time, Li Mengyao had changed into a white nightdress, revealing her charming long legs. Lin Xian carefully walked up to the sofa, knelt down, and carefully examined the sleeping beauty. Her body was slightly curled up, her eyes were closed, her eyelashes fluttered gently like butterfly wings, and the corners of her mouth were slightly raised, as if she were having a sweet dream. Thinking about Li Mengyao's tragic childhood and the hardships of the two women, Lin Xian's heart ached. I will be a good husband, Meng Yao. Lin Xian said tenderly. Li Mengyao seemed to hear it and made a faint sound. Lin Xian gently picked Li Mengyao up across the waist and slowly walked towards the master bedroom. Li Mengyao had a beautiful dream in which she and Lin Xian were walking down the aisle and kissing passionately. Li Mengyao woke up around 5 p.m. There was nothing she could do about it. Being pregnant really made her drowsy. She remembered that she seemed to have fallen asleep on the sofa, but when she opened her eyes, she found herself in bed. Her face turned red, and she hastily got up and opened the door. At this time, Lin Xian was in the computer room, sitting in front of the computer, fingers tapping away on the keyboard, doing something. Lin Xian, what are you doing? Li Mengyao's voice was a little hoarse, as if she was still immersed in a sweet dream. Wife, you're awake? I'm working part-time. Lin Xian walked quickly up to Li Mengyao and said with a gentle face. Am I disturbing you? Li Mengyao blinked her beautiful eyes. You never disturb me. Are you hungry? What do you want to eat tonight? Lin Xian's eyes could not hide his adoration. It's fine, I'm not picky. Hug me. Li Mengyao stretched out her hands, coquettishly. Lin Xian gently held Li Mengyao in his arms. She exuded a unique, light fragrance, not strong but long-lasting, like the peaceful breath of a secluded valley. Are you going shopping at the mall tonight? Lin Xian asked. Why do you suddenly want to go shopping? Li Mengyao looked puzzled. Normally, it is the girl who initiates a shopping trip, so it is quite rare for the guy to take the initiative. I'll take you shopping. I don't need to buy anything. You'll see when we go, it's very important. Okay. Li Mengyao gave a bright smile that made people's heartstrings tremble. Chapter 7, Shopping at the Mall. In the evening, Lin Xian put the ingredients such as free-range chicken, mushrooms, and ginger slices into the pot and let them simmer. The umami flavor of the mushrooms and the unique fragrance of the free-range chicken blended together to make a rich and mellow mushroom and free-range chicken soup. Honey, come try the free-range chicken soup I made. Lin Xian put a small bowl of chicken soup in front of Li Mengyao. Li Mengyao was a bit loss of appetite during pregnancy, and she didn't have an appetite for anything. So Lin Xian made a delicious chicken soup, and with the added bonus of a 5-star chef, it directly stimulated Li Mengyao's taste buds. Lin Xian, why are you so skilled at cooking? Li Mengyao blinked her beautiful eyes and sipped a little. It's my mom's fault. She always likes to experiment with new things. For example, kiwi mixed with rice, dragon fruit stir-fried with meat, etc. In short, her cooking skills are not good. So I researched cooking on my own during the summer and winter vacations. Lin Xian recalled with pain, his mother Zhang Shulan's cooking skills were really not good. So there was really no choice but to cook on my own. Over time, I learned how to cook. Although it is definitely not as good as a 5-star chef, at least I can eat. Li Mengyao burst out laughing. You mustn't say that about your aunt. In the evening, the two of them arrived in a Maybach at a large shopping mall nearby, Jinwan Plaza. Jinwan Plaza is the commercial center of Jinghai City's Jinwan district. It is dazzling with flashing neon lights, lined with shops, and bustling with activity. Li Mengyao took Lin Xian's arm as they walked into Jinwan Plaza. You still haven't said what you're buying. Li Mengyao gave Lin Xian's hand a gentle squeeze. You'll find out soon enough, it's just up ahead. The two then entered a specialty store selling daily necessities for pregnant women. Welcome, what can I help you with? The shop assistant came up to them cheerfully. Hello, do you have any moisturizing lotions here to prevent stretch marks? Lin Xian asked. Yes, this one is a popular product recently. It has a good effect on stretch marks and is very cost-effective. The shop assistant saw that they were young, so he didn't recommend the most expensive one right away, otherwise he would scare them away. Lin Xian looked at the product information and frowned. Although this one has a good effect on stretch marks, it is not the best. There are also these models, which although less effective at reducing stretch marks, are much cheaper than the one just mentioned and are also quite good. The shop assistant saw Lin Xian frown and thought that the two of them probably didn't have that much budget. Can you please show us the most expensive product in your store that has the best effect? Lin Xian asked the shop assistant with a smile. Okay, please wait a moment. This is the one. After use, it is guaranteed to leave no stretch marks. The shop assistant quickly brought it over. Lin Xian looked at the product information with the help of the pregnancy knowledge database provided by the system. There was no fragrance, no alcohol, no chemical additives, and other nonsense. It really was the best for stretch marks. Li Mengyao looked at the price and gasped. This little bottle costs 1,000 yuan. So she gently tugged Lin Xian's sleeve and whispered, let's buy the other one. This one is too expensive. You don't want stretch marks after giving birth, so you should use the best products. Lin Xian gently squeezed Li Mengyao's hand and said tenderly. Hello, I'd like to order 5 of these, please. Okay, just a moment, I'll wrap it for you. The shop assistant was very happy and sold 5,000 yuan worth of products in no time. After paying, the two walked out of the maternity store, and Lin Xian pulled Li Mengyao along. Do you need anything else? Li Mengyao wanted to stop Lin Xian from spending any more money, so she said, save some money if you want. Do you need to buy this? Lin Xian pointed ahead with a smile. Li Mengyao looked in the direction he was pointing and saw a maternity clothing store. What's the point of buying these? Your belly will start to show after the 3rd month of pregnancy, and the clothes you used to wear won't fit. That's why I'm buying some maternity clothes. Lin Xian continued to teach Li Mengyao about pregnancy. How come you know all this? Li Mengyao's face flushed with embarrassment when she heard this. I've done my homework, for you and the babies. Lin Xian smiled. Lower your head, I want to talk to you. Li Mengyao blinked happily and whispered. What are you so careful about? Lin Xian obediently leaned down, and she lightly put her toes up to leave a gentle kiss on Lin Xian's cheek. Then she quickly pulled away and walked quickly towards the boutique, tapping her little feet. A faint smile appeared on Lin Xian's face, as if the whole world had become beautiful. Li Mengyao selected a few pieces of maternity clothing and went into the dressing room to try them on. Lin Xian glanced across the street at a jewelry store, estimated the time, and quickly ran in. Welcome. A tall, average-looking shop assistant came up to greet them. Hello, may I ask if you have any diamond ring recommendations? Lin Xian asked with a smile. This is a 1-carat, grade G engagement ring with a novel design that is very popular with young people. It only costs 20,000 yuan. The shop assistant saw that Lin Xian still looked like a university student, so he assumed that he didn't have much of a budget. Although this model is novel, the diamond grade is a bit low. Is there anything better? Lin Xian continued to smile and ask. Sir, what is your approximate budget? About 500,000 yuan. The shop assistant was shocked. 500,000. A student has that kind of money? It seems that it might be a rich second generation. I only earn a few thousand a month, it's really depressing to compare ourselves to others. Soon, the shop assistant took out a new diamond ring. The design of this diamond ring was exquisite, the cutting craftsmanship superb, and it was crystal clear, like morning dew, and it was even more precious when set in the ring. This 2-carat D-grade rare pure diamond is a rare treasure that confirms the eternal love. Grade D is completely colorless, the highest grade of color, very rare and precious. The price? Just 500,000. Lin Xian was instantly blinded by the flash. It really is true that you get what you pay for. After all, it's worth 500,000, almost as much as an apartment in a small county town. Okay, thank you, I'll take this one. Lin Xian said, while reporting the size he measured yesterday after Li Mengyao fell asleep to the clerk. Okay sir, please come over here to pay, and I'll help you pack it up. The clerk was very happy, as he would get a good commission for this big order. After paying, Lin Xian immediately returned to the maternity clothing store and pretended that nothing had happened. Lin Xian, this looks good. Li Mengyao happened to walk out and turned around in place. It looks good, my wife looks good in anything. Lin Xian said with a face of appreciation. Although Li Mengyao's stomach was not showing yet, she still looked like a pure and beautiful girl. Humph, it's like you didn't say anything. Li Mengyao looked at herself in the mirror in front of her and felt pretty, so she bought it. After buying the clothes, the two drove back to Jinwanfu. It was already 10 o'clock at night when they got home, and Li Mengyao was already too sleepy to do anything. Then I'll go to my room and take a shower and go to bed, good night. Li Mengyao snorted. Any goodnight kiss? Lin Xian leaned forward on his own initiative and asked tenderly. No, I already kissed you today. Li Mengyao's face instantly turned red, and she quickly turned around and walked quickly back to her room. So there will be one tomorrow? Let's talk about it later. Li Mengyao returned to her room and gently closed the door. Chapter 8, could you come over for a second? Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully accompanying Li Mengyao to buy maternity products. A reward of a luxury store in Jinwan Plaza is yours, please check. Lin Xian heard the system's voice in his head again. At the same time, the staff at Jinwan Plaza also called. Hello, Mr. Lin, this is the marketing manager of Jinwan Plaza. The relevant procedures for the luxury store you purchased in Jinwan Plaza are ready. When are you available to come and check? Okay, I'll come by in a few days to check it out. Lin Xian hung up the phone, thinking to himself, what time is it? The staff at Golden Bay Plaza are still working overtime. This society is just too fast-paced. These few days, Lin Xian took care of Li Mengyao's 3 meals a day as usual. The weather forecast showed that there would be a severe thunderstorm in the Golden Bay area late at night. At this time, Lin Xian served a plate of cherries after dinner. Li Mengyao was lying on the lazy chair, watching the sparkling river surface while accepting Lin Xian's feeding. Is it delicious? Delicious. Hey, let's watch a movie tonight? Sure, what movie do you want to watch? I want to watch a horror movie. Li Mengyao hesitated slightly. A horror movie? Lin Xian couldn't help but be slightly stunned. Li Mengyao is usually soft and weak, so why would she like to watch horror movies? I didn't like horror movies before, but after I went to university, Yusin often played horror movies in the dormitory, and I gradually came to like the feeling of tension and excitement. Li Mengyao explained in a low voice. This girl can't do it. The emotions and psychological state during pregnancy have an impact on the development of the baby. Watching horror movies can cause emotional fluctuations of tension and fear, which may be transmitted to the baby. So let's watch a warm movie, okay? Lin Xian explained gently. Okay. Li Mengyao pouted. In the end, the two of them chose the movie Hachi, A Dog's Tale. In fact, there is another important reason not to watch horror movies, and that is that Lin Xian has been afraid of ghosts since he was a child. When he was a child, he was scared by the older girl in the neighborhood. One time, relying on the fact that he was a few years older than Lin Xian, she insisted on watching a horror movie together, causing an indelible trauma in his young heart. The living room has a high-definition projector with a 70-inch big screen, comfortable sofas, stunning sound effects, and clear picture quality, creating the ultimate movie-watching experience. After Lin Xian has set up the projector, Li Mengyao, holding fruit and snacks, leans quietly against Lin Xian and feeds him while watching the movie. Hachi tells the story of the deep emotional bond between people and dogs, and reminds us to cherish the people and animals around us, as well as the love and companionship they give us. Sure enough, after watching the movie, Li Mengyao's tears blur her eyes, as she is completely immersed in the emotional world of the movie. Appropriate crying can help pregnant women release their inner stress, reduce their psychological burden, and relieve emotional tension. As for Lin Xian, he was gently hugging Li Mengyao while constantly passing tissues to her with the other hand. Although the movie was very touching, Lin Xian didn't have any emotional fluctuations. He couldn't cry, and it was not proper for a man to cry during a movie. It was already past 10 p.m. after the movie. Li Mengyao yawned, raised her hand, gently put it around Lin Xian's neck, tilted her head slightly, and left a kiss on Lin Xian's face. I'm going to bed, good night kiss. After saying that, she took off running back to her room. Lin Xian had no idea what to do about this kind of flirting and running away. After turning off the projector, Lin Xian also returned to his room to get ready for bed. Rumble. Late at night, the wind howled furiously in the darkness, with flashes of lightning and thunder. A flash of lightning streaked across the sky, and torrential rain pelted down, pounding violently on the ground. Li Mengyao, who was fast asleep, was woken up by a loud thunderclap. The thunder was deafening, and Li Mengyao was so frightened that she turned pale, trembling and curling up. Li Mengyao had been afraid of thunder since she was a child, although as she grew older, she was no longer afraid of ordinary small thunder. But now the thunder seemed to be right above Jinwanfu, deafening. Plus, she was pregnant, and her fear was magnified. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was also awakened by the first loud thunderclap, but he liked thunderstorms. He always felt that he slept better with the sound of thunder and rain. Lin Xian was about to fall back asleep when his phone suddenly rang. Who was it, sending a message in the middle of the night? Lin Xian was reluctant, but he couldn't resist his curiosity. He opened his phone and saw that it was Li Mengyao. Lin Xian, can you come over for a bit? Li Mengyao curled up again after sending the message. In the past, she could have just gritted her teeth and got through it, but now it was different. She thought of Lin Xian. She didn't want to disturb Lin Xian's sleep, so after much consideration, she sent a message first. Honey, I'm coming in. Lin Xian knocked gently on the door, then pushed it open and walked in. Li Mengyao heard Lin Xian's voice and quickly jumped off the bed. Like a frightened bird, she dove into Lin Xian's arms and wrapped her arms tightly around his neck. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were afraid of thunder. Lin Xian gently stroked Li Mengyao's hair. Then I'll watch you sleep? Lin Xian looked at Li Mengyao, who was slightly trembling in his arms. We'll sleep together. A light blush appeared on Li Mengyao's face. Is there such a good thing? Lin Xian suddenly felt like thanking the weather for tonight. Lin Xian carried Li Mengyao back to the bed and lay down with her, gently embracing her in his arms so that she would feel secure. Li Mengyao, who was being held by Lin Xian, was no longer so scared, but instead felt very warm. What followed was the rising temperature of her face. Li Mengyao blushed. Lin Xian looked at Li Mengyao, who was blushing all over, and smiled. You're not scared now, are you? It's not the first time I've held you to sleep, so why be so shy? It was the time when I was pregnant. You rascal, Lin Xian, how dare you tease me at a time like this? Li Mengyao became more and more angry as she thought about it, and raised her hand to pinch Lin Xian's waist. Okay, I was wrong, I won't tease you anymore. I just want to ease your fear. You've cried enough today, and crying again is not good for the baby. Are you still afraid now? Lin Xian coaxed gently. No more fear. Li Mengyao muttered. Soon, Li Mengyao fell asleep, but Lin Xian did not fare as well. This girl sleeps restlessly. At this time, Lin Xian was in excruciating pain. Chapter 9, You're going to be a grandmother. The next morning. A phone ringing sounded in Li Mengyao's ear. Sleepy and confused, Li Mengyao picked up the phone and pressed the answer button. Hello. Li Mengyao's voice was mellow. Lin's mother's face on the other end of the phone showed a shocked expression and she was directly stunned. What's going on? Calling her son, and a woman's voice came from the other end of the phone. Who are you? Where is my son Lin Xian? Lin's mother asked anxiously. Lin Xian? Lin Xian is sleeping next to me. After saying that, Li Mengyao put the phone near Lin Xian's head, and then hugged Lin Xian as he continued to sleep soundly. Lin Xian had stayed up late the night before, and was now sleeping like a pig. Only the person on the other end of the line was left, and he kept saying, hello. Hello? Why is there no one there? Hello? 2 hours passed. Lin Xian slowly opened his eyes, stretched, and finally came to. Looking at Li Mengyao, who was hugging him tightly, with her tempting little cherry lips. He really wanted to take a bite. At this moment, an angel and a devil appeared in Lin Xian's mind. Angel, people trust you so much, Lin Xian, you can't take advantage of the situation. Devil, they already have a child, what's wrong with a kiss? Lin Xian, go for it. Lin Xian fell into deep thought, both of them made a lot of sense. Then he chose the middle way, it wouldn't be too much to secretly kiss Li Mengyao's little face. Li Mengyao had also secretly kissed Lin Xian's cheek several times, so it was considered a return of the favor. Lin Xian lowered his head and slowly moved closer to Li Mengyao's flawless face. A few centimeters away, Lin Xian's breath caused Li Mengyao's eyebrows to tremble lightly. She slowly opened her eyes gradually clearing up, revealing a kind of freshness and innocence of someone who had just woken up. What do you want? Li Mengyao regained her senses and weakly uttered a sound. I just want to take a closer look at you. Lin Xian said with a guilty conscience. Li Mengyao looked at Lin Xian's eyes and then looked down at her neckline, her face instantly turning red. Rascal! Pervert! She then quickly drew away from him, hiding her head under the covers, too shy to come out. Lin Xian looked at her with a face full of adoration. His wife's scolding was always gentle. Cough cough, I'm not teasing anymore. Lin Xian was lost in thought for a while before getting ready to get up. Just then, Lin's mother called again, and Lin Xian didn't think much of it and just pressed the answer button. Hello, Mom, what's up? Why are you calling so early in the morning? Rascal, where are you right now? Me? I'm in the dormitory. Lin Xian looked at the situation and felt that he couldn't explain it right now, so he can only lie to his mother for now. In the dormitory? Then why did a girl answer the phone when I just called? You didn't break into the girls' dormitory at night, did you? You're really naughty, and I won't care about you when the time comes. Zhang Shulan said angrily. Huh? Lin Xian quickly flipped through his phone and saw several calls from Zhang Shulan. The first one was connected. It couldn't be Li Mengyao answering, could it? At this time, Li Mengyao fell asleep again. Pregnant women can really sleep. Mom, I'll explain to you later. Lin Xian lowered his voice and then hung up the phone. This brat still has the nerve to hang up on me, it makes me so angry. Zhang Shulan looked at Lin Zhenghua, who was not far away playing with his phone. Lin, go wash the dishes if you're not busy. Lin Zhenghua looked innocently. What's it got to do with me if my son bothers you? He was forced by his family status and had no choice but to walk into the kitchen. On the other side, Lin Xian tiptoed out of the room, opened the first call log on his phone, and clicked to play back. Hello. Lin Xian? Lin Xian is asleep next to me. Li Mengyao's mellow voice came. Oh no, my mom must have misunderstood. But it's about time I told my family the truth. It was just a mixed doubles, something we did a lot of when we were kids. Lin Xian quickly dialed his mom back. You little brat, you've got some nerve, hanging up on your mom. Mom, don't be mad, I'm calling back, aren't I? Lin Xian said with a smirk. Hurry up and tell me, what happened this morning? Mom, you need to be prepared mentally. Prepare mentally? You little brat, you didn't really. Mom, don't get the wrong idea, how could I do something like that? Zhang Shulan thought carefully. She knew her own son well, and indeed it was unlikely that he would do something like that. Then you brat, just say it, I can hear it clearly. Mom, actually it's not a big deal, you're going to be a grandma. Luckily, it's really not a big deal. Zhang Shulan jumped in shock. The one who just answered the phone was your daughter-in-law. You bastard, what did your father and I teach you? You got someone's daughter pregnant before marriage, how can you face her? If I hadn't caught you, were you going to hide it forever? You really make me angry. Zhang Shulan's hands were clenched into fists, and she wanted to fly over there and give Lin Xian a good beating. Mom, don't be angry. It's not because I'm not ready yet? And I'm going to marry her, and then have a big wedding. Lin Xian hurriedly explained. Where are you living now? You can't be living in the girls' dormitory. Of course not. I'm living in Jinghai City, Jinwan District. You wait, your father and I will be there this afternoon. Send us the address. Oh, and do you have a picture of your daughter-in-law? Send that too. Zhang Shulan was furious. Although she really wanted to be a grandmother after retiring, she wasn't going to become one suddenly. No one could stand that. She had to go and see for herself. Lin Zhenghua, come out here. Zhang Shulan shouted at the kitchen. What's the matter, there's such a strong smell of gunpowder. Lin Zhenghua looked innocent. You should take some time off work with your unit these 2 days, and we'll go to Jinghai City in the afternoon. Why did you suddenly say take some time off? I'm the middle-level leader of a state-owned enterprise, it's not easy to get approval. Your son got someone's daughter pregnant. You're going to be a grandfather, do you think you can take some time off? Zhang Shulan gave Lin Zhenghua a cold stare. Huh? What's going on? After Zhang Shulan explained, Lin Zhenghua's anger caused the veins on his forehead to bulge. This brat, I'm going to fix you. Where's my belt? Bring some more. Zhang Shulan then called her good friend who had a business in the countryside and asked her to quickly bring over some local chickens. The two then started going through boxes and packing things. On the other side, Lin Xian was in a panic, walking back and forth in the hall. Oh no, I'm going to get fired this afternoon. At this time, Li Mengyao happened to open the door and walked out, seeing Lin Xian's anxious expression. Lin Xian, what are you doing? Are you awake, honey? Are you hungry? I'll go make breakfast. Lin Xian's anxiety instantly disappeared when he saw Li Mengyao. A trace of happiness flashed across Li Mengyao's face. Before long, the fragrant mushroom and lean pork congee was served. Seeing Li Mengyao sipping it little by little, Lin Xian's heart was full of happiness. Since the rice is already cooked, the worst that can happen is that I get a couple of beatings. One at my place, one at my wife's place. That wife of yours, did you get a phone call this morning? Did I? Li Mengyao drank the congee while trying to recall. It seems that there was someone who said they were looking for Lin Xian, and then That was my mom. Lin Xian said helplessly. At this moment, Li Mengyao's eyes were wide open, her small cherry lips slightly parted, unable to close for a long time. Chapter 10, Don't Pull My Ears. Li Mengyao couldn't drink the congee anymore. Her eyes were shocked, and she didn't know what to do. Lin Xian gently embraced Li Mengyao in his arms and said tenderly. Don't be afraid, wife. This is only a matter of time. I was going to tell them after I visited your mother. My parents get along well, and they'll be overjoyed to see such a beautiful daughter-in-law. Li Mengyao frowned. I'm still a little nervous. Do you think your parents will think I'm a loose woman? Lin Xian gently played with Li Mengyao's hair, which gave off a faint fragrance. No, they think I have let you down. They are probably packing non-stop right now. They are going to come over this afternoon and beat me up. Li Mengyao's mouth curled up slightly when she heard this, and her smile was as beautiful as a crescent moon, as if she wasn't so nervous anymore. Hey, how did your parents beat you up? My dad has an ancestral belt, and my mom has an ancestral clothes hanger. They played doubles, and it was a round-robin system. This time, after my dad beat me, my mom would comfort me. The next time, after my mom beat me, my dad would comfort me. They would sing in unison. Lin Xian recalled the painful memories. Li Mengyao burst out laughing, and her elegant eyes flickered lightly. That must mean you were very naughty. You were just trying to hit on me. Can you call it hitting on your wife when your husband kisses her? Lin Xian said shamelessly. Not yet, we're not even married. Li Mengyao's face flushed instantly, and she raised her hand to gently smack Lin Xian's chest. It's only a matter of time. Li Mengyao gave him a disgusted look before falling into hesitation. I used to have a happy family too. But then when I was 8 years old, my father left us early due to an accident. I was young at the time and naively thought that my father had gone on a long trip. When I saw him again, it was a black and white photo on the tombstone. After that, my mother had to work hard every day to support the family. She started going out early in the morning and coming home late at night. When I was young and went to school, I was often teased and called a child without a father. Li Mengyao told a lot of the bitterness of her childhood. Her eyes were red with tears, and she tightly embraced Lin Xian with both hands. Lin Xian took a tissue and gently wiped away her tears, before hugging Li Mengyao tightly. Don't cry, I'll be there for you in the future. I will give you and the babies a wonderful home in the future. Lin Xian said firmly. Ma'am, I believe you. Do you want some more congee? No, I'm a bit sleepy. Carry me back to bed. Li Mengyao gave a sweet smile. Little lazybones. Lin Xian then effortlessly lifted her up like a princess. SSH. Don't bite, I was wrong. Lin Xian carried Li Mengyao back to her room. After he came out, he looked at the cute tooth marks on his arm and smiled happily. Ding dong, the brat sent a message. Zhang Shulan opened it and was instantly captivated. The photo showed Li Mengyao in a white nightdress, with delicate features, fresh and charming. Her cherry lips were biting into a cherry, giving a feeling of comfort and tranquility. Yes, this is a photo taken by Lin Xian secretly. Even without beauty enhancement or makeup, she still looks like a fresh and beautiful girl. This daughter-in-law is really pretty. Lin, take a look. Zhang Shulan can't wait to hand the photo to Lin Zhenghua. I'm driving, I'll read it when we get there. I'm telling you, when you meet your daughter-in-law, don't wear a long face, got it? If you want to beat your son up, go out and do it, don't scare your daughter-in-law, got it? I know, I'll do whatever you say. Lin Zhenghua had no choice. It seemed that his family status would once again decline. Lin Xian's hometown was in Yunhai City, a 3-hour drive from Jinghai City. So for the time being, Lin Xian could still survive for 3 hours. But what was meant to come did come. In the afternoon, Zhang Shulan and Lin Zhenghua arrived at the front gate of Jinwan Mansion and were also attracted by the beautiful scenery of the community. This community is also strangely beautiful. Zhang Shulan compared it to her own neighborhood. Although the neighborhood she lived in was considered quite nice in Yunhai City, the difference between it and the Jinwan Mansion in front of her was more than just a little. That brat, renting such an expensive place. Doesn't he know that getting married and having children costs a lot of money? That's one more reason to beat Lin Xian up. She then angrily dialed the phone. Hey, brat, we're here, hurry up and come down and pick us up. Coming. Lin Xian said helplessly. So soon. It's only been 2.5 hours. Lin Xian quickly put on his shoes and ran to the entrance of the community to greet the 2 old people. Soon, Lin Xian saw 2 familiar figures, familiar faces, and angry eyes. Mom and Dad, you're here. Hey, it hurts, don't pull my ear. Rascal, what did I teach you before, and did you ignore it? Zhang Shulan tugged Lin Xian's ear, and because Lin Xian was tall, he was forcibly pulled down. Everyone around looked at them with a quizzical expression, which made Lin Xian feel extremely embarrassed. Mom, let me explain slowly. In public, spare your son's face. Lin Xian wailed in pain, while casting a helpless look at Lin Zhenghua, who was standing next to him. Lin Zhenghua's mouth opened and closed, as if he was telling Lin Xian in sign language. I can't do anything about it, and I'll have to beat you up later. Lin Xian looked desperate. Zhang Shulan looked around before letting go of his hand. Let's go up and talk. The three of them then walked towards Lin Xian's house, and Lin Xian told the two of them everything that had happened. Strangely, his mother didn't seem very angry, but his father was smiling insincerely. Where's my daughter-in-law? Zhang Shulan couldn't wait to ask. She's sleeping in her room, she should be waking up around now. Then let her sleep. I'll go make some chicken soup to nourish my daughter-in-law. After saying this, Zhang Shulan got up and prepared to go to the kitchen. The father and son were shocked. Mom, I'll do it, you guys just rest. Lin Xian quickly stopped him. Can you make chicken soup? Of course I can. Right now, your daughter-in-law only eats the food I make. You might not be used to it. Zhang Shulan was at a loss for words when her daughter-in-law used this trick. Lin Xian then dove into the kitchen and started on the poor hen. In no time, the whole house was filled with the rich aroma of chicken soup. At this time, Li Mengyao also woke up and came to the living room, smelling the aroma. Lin Xian, are you making chicken soup again? It smells so good. As soon as she finished speaking, she saw Zhang Shulan and Lin Zhenghua next to her, looking at her with tender affection. Her face went from happy to embarrassed in an instant, and then she hurriedly ran back to her room. Chapter 11 Uncle, don't hit Lin Xian. Zhang Shulan saw her daughter-in-law run away and punched Lin Zhenghua next to her, of course not hard. Look at your smirking face. You see, you scared your daughter-in-law away. Zhang Shulan blared and then walked into the kitchen. Lin Zhenghua felt a bit aggrieved and thought to himself, didn't you say not to put on a long face before? And you were smirking too. Of course, Lin Zhenghua didn't dare to say it out loud, so he could only bear it silently, and vent his anger on his son later. Son, go check on my daughter-in-law. She just came out and seems to have been scared off by your father, Zhang Shulan said to Lin Xian. Ha? Has Mengyao woken up? I'll go now. The chicken soup is almost done, so don't do any more work, Mom. Lin Xian gave instructions as he walked, while looking back. I know, you go quickly. Zhang Shulan knew that her son disliked her cooking, and she glared at him. Lin Xian walked into the room and closed the door. Li Mengyao was wearing a light purple ruffled dress, like an elf emerging from a sea of flowers, exuding a charming and fresh temperament. The light makeup on her face also made her look even more fresh and pleasant. Do I look good? Li Mengyao asked shyly, seeing Lin Xian staring at her. You look very pretty, just like a little fairy. Lin Xian walked over to Li Mengyao and took her soft, delicate hand. I was just half asleep and forgot that your parents were coming. Over. Will they like the way I'm dressed? Li Mengyao pursed her lips, still a little nervous. No parents in the world won't like a little fairy like you. Lin Xian squeezed her hand. You're the only one who can talk. Li Mengyao's beautiful eyes blinked. Let's go out together, don't worry, I'm here. Well. The two then walked out of the room holding hands, Lin Xian in front, Li Mengyao close behind. Mom and Dad, let me introduce you, this is Li Mengyao, the mother of the child. Mengyao, this is my mom and dad, Lin Xian said. Hello, Auntie and Uncle. Li Mengyao nervously said hello. Zhang Shulan and Lin Guozheng looked at their daughter-in-law in front of them, and she was even more beautiful in person than in the photos. They praised, you're worthy of being our son, you have good taste. Mengyao, come sit down, let's have a nice chat. Zhang Shulan warmly welcomed her, pushed Lin Xian aside, and pulled Li Mengyao to sit down. Mengyao, where are you from? Jingshui City. Seeing that Li Mengyao was still very reserved, she felt that it might be because Lin Zhenghua was standing nearby, and she gave him a glare afterwards. Lao Lin, don't you have something to say to your precious son? You go out and discuss it. Lin Zhenghua and Lin Xian left helplessly. We already know what happened. It's my son who is sorry. I've just given him a good lesson. Here, the Lin family apologizes to you. Then Zhang Shulan took out a bracelet from her bosom. The gems on this bracelet were exquisitely inlaid and shone with a bright radiance. The unique design of the bracelet was like a piece of art. We don't have any heirlooms like that at home. This bracelet was bought by me during a trip a few years ago and was intended for my daughter-in-law in the future. Auntie, I can't accept such a valuable thing. Li Mengyao quickly refused. Take it, this is what the boy owes you. Don't worry, if this boy dares to treat you badly, just let me know and I'll definitely teach him a lesson. Li Mengyao heard the word lesson and suddenly thought, did Lin Xian go out with his father too? Li Mengyao's face suddenly turned pale, and she quickly ran out the door. She happened to see Lin Zhenghua holding a belt in his hand, ready to hit Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood still and was prepared to take his punishment. Li Mengyao quickly pounced on Lin Xian, hugging him tightly and looking Lin Zhenghua straight in the eye. Uncle, don't hit Lin Xian. Lin Xian did nothing wrong. It was our carelessness that caused this. Lin Xian has been taking care of me a lot these days, and has also shouldered his responsibilities. I really like Lin Xian. Lin Xian never expected that the usually weak and gentle Li Mengyao would be so brave, and that it was still for his own protection. Alas, Lin Xian, what do you say? Lin Zhenghua sighed helplessly. I will take responsibility and spend the rest of my life by your side, taking care of you. Lin Xian said firmly. I believe you. Li Mengyao shyly lowered her head. Alright, don't just stand there. Mengyao must be hungry, come in quickly and have a bowl of chicken soup to replenish your nutrients. Zhang Shulan came out to smooth things over and led Li Mengyao back into the dining room in the house, followed by Lin Xian and Lin Zhenghua. Lin Xian went back to the kitchen and fried some home-style dishes. The family finally had dinner. Ha! Brat, when did your cooking get so good? Zhang Shulan and Lin Zhenghua were both shocked. The food tasted so good. But Zhang Shulan didn't forget to keep filling Li Mengyao's bowl. Li Mengyao's bowl never went empty. After dinner, Lin Xian took Li Mengyao for a stroll around the neighborhood, as usual. Zhang Shulan and Lin Zhenghua stayed at home. Wife, were you just shocked? Lin Xian asked, holding Li Mengyao's hand. Well, a little. Actually, my parents are quite nice. Since I was little, they have taught me to be upright, not to get into trouble, and not to pick up bad habits. This time, they were probably both angry and happy. They were angry because I bullied you, and they were happy that they have such a good-looking daughter-in-law and have become grandparents. So it's only natural that they want to beat me up. If I had known, I wouldn't have protected you and let you get beaten up. Li Mengyao's mouth curled up into a happy smile. On the other side, Zhang Shulan and Lin Zhenghua stayed at home. Lin, you're going to be a grandfather soon, shouldn't you show your appreciation? Zhang Shulan asked. Well, let Lin Xian look at the house when the time comes. Lin Zhenghua said. That's all we can do. That prodigal son, not saving up, renting such a big house, doesn't he know that having a baby costs a lot of money? Zhang Shulan said, and then she wanted to punch Lin Xian again, but she couldn't do anything about it when she thought about her daughter-in-law not letting her. When Lin Xian and Li Mengyao returned in the evening, Li Mengyao was already feeling sleepy, so she went to her room early to rest. After Lin Xian helped his parents tidy up the room, he was pulled over by Zhang Shulan. Son, you go and look at the house in Jinghai City in a few days. Mengyao is pregnant now, so we need to buy a house quickly and prepare for the wedding. Here is 1 million yuan, which your father and I have saved up for your marriage. Take it. She then took out a bank card and handed it to Lin Xian. Mom, there's no need to buy it, I already have a house. Lin Xian refused. Where did you get the house? Isn't it rented? I bought this house. Lin Xian said proudly. Zhang Shulan was stunned for a moment, and then slapped Lin Xian on the head. Rascal, where did you get so much money? I started learning about investing when I went to university, and I've been doing part-time design for a few years, so I've saved some money. You should leave this money for Cici. Lin Xian explained, covering his head. Zhang Shulan had never denied the fact that her son was smart. When she thought about it, apart from this incident, her son was quite reliable, so she believed him. Okay, if you don't have enough money, just tell me. Zhang Shulan took back the bank card. By the way, does Cici know about this? Lin Xian has a younger sister who is currently attending high school at Yunhai City No. 1 Middle School. She doesn't know yet, she's at school. Okay, it's getting late, your father and I are going to go to our room and rest. Seeing that it was already past 10 p.m., Lin Xian also prepared to go to his room and rest. He opened the door, but found a stunning figure lying on the bed. Chapter 12, Luxury Restaurant. Lin Xian went out to take another look at the room, and realized that he hadn't gone the wrong way. Could it be that this girl? Lin Xian didn't care so much. He climbed into bed gently and lay down next to Li Mengyao. Lin Xian looked at the sleeping Li Mengyao and thought to himself, what delicious food should I make for my wife tomorrow? I'll make some red date and white fungus soup. Red dates and white fungus are both nourishing and good for the skin. And a stir-fried broccoli with shrimp, to provide protein, vitamins, and folic acid. And another. Suddenly, Li Mengyao turned over, and her delicate hands gently embraced Lin Xian. Her beautiful eyelashes fluttered slightly, and the corners of her mouth lifted up slightly. Lin Xian looked at Li Mengyao pretending to be asleep, and laughed softly. Wife, are you asleep? Lin Xian gently pinched her little face with his hand. Ignoring it, Li Mengyao's brows slightly furrowed. Ah, it hurts. You rascal. Li Mengyao rolled over, leaving Lin Xian with a good look at the back of her head. Lin Xian laughed, came up to her and embraced her, saying tenderly, Honey, why are you in my room today? Li Mengyao's face turned red as she said haughtily. This is my room, you've gone the wrong way. Lin Xian knew that Li Mengyao had a thin skin and said with full of affection. Okay, I made a mistake. From now on, I'll always make mistakes, okay? My wife is always right. Li Mengyao couldn't bear to hear anymore, and turned around with a pout, raising her pink fist and lightly punching Lin Xian. Stop it. Okay, I'll stop. Lin Xian hugged Li Mengyao into his arms. We'll go to your house the day after tomorrow to visit your mother-in-law, okay? Well, Li Mengyao hadn't seen her mother for a while. By the way, what does your mother like? I need to prepare some gifts for the visit, Lin Xian asked. No need, just buy some fruit and she'll be very happy, Li Mengyao shook her head lightly. That won't do, let's go to the mall again tomorrow. Okay. Li Mengyao yawned, obviously already very sleepy, and took advantage of Lin Xian's inattention to secretly give him a kiss on the cheek. Idiot. Lin Xian, good night. Then he turned around and started snoring. She teases him and then runs away again. Lin Xian is completely at her mercy. I'll deal with you later. Lin Xian whispers. Then he hugs Li Mengyao and gradually falls asleep too. The next day, after lunch, Zhang Shulan and Lin Zhenghua prepare to return to Yunhai City. Before leaving, Zhang Shulan pulls Li Mengyao over and whispers something to her, laughing the whole time. Lin Xian is very curious, not saying anything about his childhood shame. Lin Xian was about to lean over to listen when the two of them stopped talking. My son, take good care of Mengyao. If there's anything, just call home. Hurry up and find some time to go to Mengyao's house and apologize. Zhang Shulan instructed, the more she saw of her daughter-in-law, the more she liked her. Got it, Mom. We'll go tomorrow, have a safe trip. Lin Xian said. After seeing the two old people off, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao returned home. Lin Xian curiously asked. What did my mom tell you? You've been smiling the whole time. Li Mengyao's mouth curled up into a smile, and she gave a soft grunt. I'm not telling you. Lin Xian put on a stern face on purpose, lifted her chin, and made her look at him. Tell me or I'll take measures. Li Mengyao narrowed her beautiful eyes. I'm not telling, and see what you can do to me. Lin Xian suddenly performed a princess carry, firmly embracing Li Mengyao and slowly walking towards the room. What are you doing? Put me down. Li Mengyao, panicking, reached out her hands to hug Lin Xian tightly, with only her two calves gently resisting. Lin Xian carried Li Mengyao back to the room and gently put her back on the bed. Looking at her delicate face, Lin Xian bowed his head and kissed Li Mengyao's forehead, tenderly saying, Take a nap, and after you wake up, we'll go to the mall. Li Mengyao lowered her head shyly because of the kiss and acted like an ostrich. After waking up, the two drove to Jinwan Square in a Maybach. Lin Xian first bought a lot of health products for Li Mengyao's mother, and then bought her some bags for middle-aged people and some jewelry. Li Mengyao saw that Lin Xian was buying more and more, and finally couldn't help it, grabbing Lin Xian's hand. Lin Xian, stop buying, there's already enough. Lin Xian suddenly had a bad idea and pretended to say. No, I still want to buy, this isn't enough. Li Mengyao puffed up her cheeks like a puffer fish. If you buy more, I'll be angry. If you don't buy, you can kiss me and I won't buy. Lin Xian said shamelessly, because she had run away after they had slept together yesterday. Let's go back and talk about it, there are a lot of people here. Li Mengyao blushed and looked away. Lin Xian took Li Mengyao's hand and said happily, I'll show you somewhere. Lin Xian picked up his phone and dialed the number of the market manager of Jinwan Plaza. Hello, manager, I previously purchased a luxury shop in Jinwan Plaza. May I come over to check it out? Is this Mr. Lin? The other party replied. Yes, I am currently on the first floor of Jinwan Plaza. Okay, please wait a moment, I will come down to pick you up. After a while, a man in a suit and of average appearance jogged over. Hello, Mr. Lin, I am the marketing manager of Jinwan Plaza, my surname is Chun. Hello, Manager Chen, can you show us the store now? Lin Xian asked. Of course, this way please. Manager Chen gestured. Li Mengyao was again slightly stunned. When did Lin Xian buy a store, or in the prime location of Jinwan Plaza? The two then went to the 5th floor of Jinwan Plaza, where there were all kinds of restaurants. Manager Chen led the two of them to the largest store on the 5th floor. It was worthy of being a system reward, every item was a boutique. This store was a full 150 square meters, and at the price of 30,000 yuan per square meter here, 4.5 million. Mr. Lin, you can just sign here. Manager Chen took out a document and handed it to Lin Xian. Lin Xian read it carefully and signed his name. Okay, thank you, Mr. Lin. If you have any follow-up questions, you can feel free to call me. Okay, thank you, Manager Chen. After Manager Chen left, Lin Xian asked Li Mengyao, who was in a daze. Honey, what do you think we should do with this shop? Definitely a restaurant, and it's so big, Li Mengyao said, gesturing with her small hands. Okay, let's make it a fish restaurant. Why a fish restaurant? Li Mengyao's face was full of confusion. Lin Xian squeezed Li Mengyao's hand and said. Because my wife loves fish the most. Chapter 13 Wife, you still bite? Li Mengyao's heart was filled with a warm feeling, and she was so moved that she couldn't speak. She then gently wrapped her arms around Lin Xian's waist, rested her head on his chest, and felt his warmth. After a while of being smitten, the two drove back to Jinwan Mansion. Lin Xian went back to the kitchen to prepare dinner, and Li Mengyao wanted to help too. Lin Xian gently pushed her out, saying that pregnant women shouldn't smell the fumes. With no choice, Li Mengyao had to sit on the sofa and watch TV. Ding dong, Lu Yusin sent a message. My big yo-yo, how have you been these few days? Has Lin Xian been bullying you? I haven't seen my yo-yo in a long time. Crying face. Li Mengyao gave a bright smile, picked up her phone, took a photo of Lin Xian, who was busy in the kitchen, and then took another photo of herself watching TV on the sofa, and sent it to Lu Yusin, Shiba Inu face. No way, this is going to be fed to the dog. Yo-yo, can love really disappear? Little Shiba Inu vomiting blood expression. I still love you very much, de Shishin. Shishin is fine, don't put a big character in front of it 50-meter machete expression. Ha ha ha, if you want to find me, you can just come. Really? Your husband won't mind, will he? After all, I'm intruding on your world of two. Sneer expression. He's not even my husband yet. Li Mengyao has been called Lin Xian's wife for a long time, but she still feels a little shy when it comes to her husband. Still shy? You've been eaten up. Okay, I'm not going to say anymore, I'm going to get ready to eat. Lin Xian served up 2 bowls of mushroom and chicken claypot rice, a plate of steamed mandarin fish, and a plate of tomato and egg soup. Wife, dinner is ready. Li Mengyao walked over and threw herself into Lin Xian's arms, murmuring, You've worked hard. I'm so happy to have such a considerate husband. After a while of being affectionate, the two began to eat dinner. Lin Xian, Uxin said she wanted to come here to find me, is that okay? Li Mengyao asked while nibbling on her food. Of course it's okay, you don't need to ask me about this, you're the hostess here, Lin Xian said tenderly. Okay, Li Mengyao gave a sweet smile again. Seeing Li Mengyao eating with relish, Lin Xian felt incredibly happy. Until now, Lin Xian has never understood why Li Mengyao likes to eat fish. But since Li Mengyao didn't bring it up, he wouldn't ask. As long as she was happy, that was all that mattered. As for the luxurious restaurant that specialized in fish dishes, Lin Xian still had no idea. First, he had to renovate the place, and after that, he needed to find a reliable manager and hire a chef. He could be a chef in a restaurant with his 5-star chef status, but now that his wife was pregnant, he couldn't leave her alone. Forget it, let's take things one step at a time. It's free anyway, so I'll just get my mother-in-law's approval tomorrow. After dinner, Lin Xian helped with the dishes before playing video games with his roommate while Li Mengyao watched a show in the living room. At around 10 p.m., Lin Xian prepared a cup of warm milk and put it in front of the bed before pulling Li Mengyao away from her phone. Honey, have some milk. After a cup, the two washed up and then lay down in bed. Lin Xian played with Li Mingyao's hair. Honey, do you want to buy some bird's nest tomorrow? No, there's already plenty. My mom really doesn't care about that stuff. Li Mengyao snuggled into Lin Xian's arms, a smile on her lips. Are you nervous? Of course I'm nervous. I'm really afraid of being kicked out by my aunt. Lin Xian's face flushed. If your daughter suddenly told you she was pregnant, and then pointed at a college student with baby fat and said, "He's perfect," Lin Xian would probably break his legs. The current situation seems to be more or less the same. Li Mengyao laughed at Lin Xian's nervous appearance. Ah, don't worry, my mother has always been very gentle, and besides, I will help you. Honey, this afternoon at Jinwan Square, you said you would give me a kiss. Li Mengyao was stunned. This change was too fast. Suddenly, Lin Xian felt a warmth on his neck, accompanied by a faint fragrance and a trace of pain. Wife, you still bite people. Lin Xian touched his cheek, which had just been kissed, and smiled slightly. Humph, I'm going to sleep, good night. Li Mengyao turned her head, not showing Lin Xian her pretty face, which had turned red. Lin Xian was already used to Li Mengyao's habit of flirting and running away. He then gently hugged Li Mengyao from behind and fell asleep together. The next morning, after breakfast, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao prepared to depart for Jingshui City. Jingshui City is a small fourth-tier city in Haishang Province, a 4-hour drive from the provincial capital, Jinghai City. Lin Xian's hometown, Yunhai City, is a third-tier city, so it is less than a 3-hour drive from Jinghai City. Lin Xian, why don't we take the Xiaomi Su7? Li Mengyao took Lin Xian's hand. Huh? Why? Lin Xian looked puzzled. He still really liked the Maybach. In the past, he often heard on Douyin. It's not that your in-laws are not hospitable, it's just that you didn't drive up in a Maybach. The Maybach is not just a status symbol, it's also a backbone that has been straightening for over 10 years. Cough cough, digression. Because I feel like driving a Maybach is a bit too showy, Li Mengyao muttered. What's wrong with being showy? I'm going to beg your mother for her permission. Otherwise, it will seem like I'm being petty. Besides, it's a 4-hour drive, so it'll be an 8-hour round trip. If I take the Xiaomi electric car, I'll have to charge it, which is a bit more troublesome. I have to rely on this Maybach to hold my head high. Lin Xian pinched Li Mengyao's little face. Okay. Li Mengyao looked at the purple Xiaomi Su7 parked next to her, and she hadn't even driven it once yet. Lin Xian could see what his wife was thinking, and said tenderly, when we come back, you can drive the Xiaomi Su7 and go for a spin with your girlfriends. Li Mengyao gave a sweet smile. The two of them went to the parking lot, and Lin Xian opened the back seat of the Maybach and said to Li Mengyao, since we're going on the highway, for safety reasons, you should sit in the back, dear. Pregnant women with babies in their wombs should preferably not sit in the passenger seat, especially when driving at high speeds. After Li Mengyao had quietly settled down, Lin Xian got into the driver's seat, started the car, and the Maybach, like a shining pearl, headed towards the direction of Jingshui City. Chapter 14, Actually, I'm pregnant. While driving in the Maybach, Lin Xian glanced at Li Mengyao in the rearview mirror. At that moment, Li Mengyao was resting her chin in one hand, quietly looking out the window, humming a little tune from time to time, and her face was filled with a happy smile. Honey, it's going to be a 4-hour drive. Aren't you going to sleep? Lin Xian asked tenderly. I just woke up this morning, and I'm not sleepy anymore. And I can't sleep even more because I'll be seeing my mom soon. Li Mengyao gave a bright smile, her happy eyes crinkling up. Then tell me about life in Jingshui City. Lin Xian wanted to learn more about the city where Li Mengyao had grown up. When you like someone, you want to know more about that person's past. Let me tell you, Jingshui City is a small fourth-tier city with a slow pace of life and not much going on. But it's full of a strong sense of community, with warmth and harmony between neighbors. And the nights in Jingshui City are soft and gentle, with a sense of peaceful warmth. My family lives in the old town, and there's a small park downstairs. When I was little, I used to play hide and seek in the park. One time, my mother couldn't find me and got really angry, but I got a lecture later. Oh, and there was also a very, very cute tabby cat in the small park. I wonder if it still recognizes me. When it came to talking about Li Mengyao's hometown, a gleam of joy shone in her eyes as she talked non-stop to Lin Xian. Lin Xian drove while quietly listening. Perhaps she was tired of talking, as Li Mengyao leaned back in her seat and fell asleep quietly. 4 hours passed quickly, and Lin Xian pulled out of the Jingshui City toll booth and pulled over. Honey, we're here. Lin Xian gave Li Mengyao's soft, tender face a gentle squeeze. Are we there yet? Li Mengyao rubbed her sleepy eyes, and she looked a little dazed as she just woke up. What came into view was the familiar city of Li Mengyao. Have you called your auntie yet? Lin Xian asked tenderly. Not yet. I'll call now. Li Mengyao then took out her phone. Hello, Mom, we're almost there. Good, I've already prepared dinner, including your favorite braised fish. A gentle voice came over the phone. We left at 8 a.m., and it's already 12 noon. We've just got off the highway, so we're going back now. Li Mengyao replied. After hanging up, Lin Xian started the car and soon arrived at Li Mengyao's home. Although the old town houses are a bit old-fashioned, they are full of life with people coming and going. Li Mengyao's home is a standard 140 square meter small commercial apartment, not too big or too small, but it is on the 8th floor, so climbing the stairs is a bit tiring. Lin Xian carried 2 big bags of gifts and climbed to the 8th floor with Li Mengyao. After seeing the familiar front door, Li Mengyao took out the key and opened the door. Mom, I'm home. A middle-aged woman with a kind face, long eyebrows, and a very beautiful appearance came up to greet her. Her almond-shaped eyes were bright as stars. Although time had left its mark on her skin, it did not affect her beauty, but instead made her exude a unique charm of maturity. Li Mengyao instantly threw herself into Huang Shifang's arms, and the mother and daughter embraced tightly. It's good to be back, Mengyao. Have you gained weight recently? Huang Shifang asked happily, touching Li Mengyao's head. No, I haven't. Li Mengyao blushed and said softly. At this time, Huang Shifang began to look at Lin Xian with soft eyes. Hello, Auntie, I'm Li Mengyao's boyfriend, my name is Lin Xian. This is a gift for you on our first meeting. Saying this, Lin Xian handed over 2 large bags of gifts. Hello, what else did you bring? Don't do that next time, come in quickly. Huang Shifang said with a smile after taking it. Entering Li Mengyao's home, although it is a bit old, the whole home is well organized, clean and tidy, with neatly arranged furniture, giving a feeling of comfort and tranquility. You must be hungry, right? Come, get ready to wash your hands and eat. Huang Shifang smiled. On the table were stir-fried pork belly with green peppers, braised prawns and soy sauce, poached fish fillets, braised fish and scrambled eggs with tomatoes. These are all dishes that Li Mengyao loves to eat. Xian, don't be polite, just make yourself at home. Try your aunt's cooking, Huang Shifang said with a soft smile. Li Mengyao then sat down next to Lin Xian and started eating. Yo-yo, Xian hasn't even touched his food yet, and you're already eating like there's no tomorrow? You're so rude. Huang Shifang pretended to be angry, but her eyes were full of laughter. Mom, I'm really hungry. Li Mengyao pouted, looking proud. Lin Xian saw that the mother and daughter had a good relationship and smiled happily. After peeling a few prawns for Li Mengyao, he began to eat. Auntie, your rice is delicious, Lin Xian said. Huang Shifang's home cooking was not as good as that of a 5-star chef, but it was very warm and had a homey taste. Eat more if you like it, Huang Shifang said gently. Li Mengyao also picked up some pork belly and said happily. Lin Xian, this is delicious, you try it. Thank you. Li Mengyao said with a glare, using her mouth to say, my mom is still here. Lin Xian had to swallow the words wife. Huang Shifang saw the affectionate way Lin Xian and Li Mengyao were looking at each other and smiled tenderly. How did you two meet? Lin Xian and Li Mengyao both froze for a moment and looked at each other. We met at a school party, Li Mengyao said a little panicked. Yes, that's right. I fell in love with Mengyao at first sight. Lin Xian agreed. Huang Shifang looked at the two of them with gentle eyes. She noticed that her daughter was a little flustered, but she didn't say anything. After lunch, Huang Shifang cleaned up the dishes and then washed the dishes in the kitchen. Lin Xian wanted to help, but was refused. Lin Xian and Li Mengyao had to go back to the living room and sit quietly. Li Mengyao took Lin Xian's hand and asked, Lin Xian, are you nervous? Of course I'm nervous, but we'll have to face it eventually. To be able to marry such a beautiful wife, even if I get beaten up, it's still worth it. Lin Xian returned the pink little hand and interlocked their fingers. It's time like this, and you're still not serious. Li Mengyao gave him a glare and gave his other little hand a gentle slap. My mother is gentle and generous, she doesn't hit people. Huang Shifang finished tidying up the kitchen and returned to the living room, smiling as she sat opposite the two of them. What are you two whispering about? Xian, What are you buying all these expensive things for? I can't accept this. Huang Shifang looked at the health products and jewelry, all of them famous brands and expensive, estimated to be worth tens of thousands of yuan. Auntie, these are a little token of my appreciation for meeting you for the first time, please accept them. Lin Xian said firmly. Huang Shifang knew that there must be something going on when she saw her daughter's nervous expression. Yo-yo, are you hiding something from mom? Huang Shifang asked with a gentle face. Li Mengyao hesitated for a moment, and finally made up her mind. Mom, there's something I want to tell you. Go ahead, Mom is listening. Mom, actually I'm pregnant. Chapter 15, Is this how you are as a mother? Huang Shifang guessed that her daughter was hiding something from her. Perhaps she wanted to live with Lin Xian, or perhaps she wanted to marry Lin Xian, she guessed all of this. But she never imagined that her daughter was actually pregnant. Huang Shifang's eyes widened at this, her expression full of shock and confusion. Yo-yo, are you joking with me? Li Mengyao lowered her head, ashamed, and said. Mom, I'm sorry. At this point, Lin Xian stepped forward and said firmly. Auntie, it's all my fault. I got Mengyao pregnant. Don't worry, I'll take good care of Mengyao. If you're not satisfied, just beat me up, I'll do whatever you say. Huang Shifang closed her eyes and frowned. She knew that her daughter wouldn't lie to her about being pregnant, but she still couldn't accept it for a while. Her daughter, whom she had raised with so much effort, was. Lin Xian and Li Mengyao's hands were tightly clasped together, as if that could provide invisible strength. After a while, Huang Shifang opened her eyes with a hint of anger, but her tone remained soft as she said. Mengyao, you come into the room with your mother and have a chat. Li Mengyao looked at Lin Xian with panicked eyes, and Lin Xian returned a firm gaze to comfort her. Then the mother and daughter entered the room and closed the door. Mengyao, what's going on? Why did you? Huang Shifang asked, her voice trembling. Lin Xian and I couldn't help it for a while. Li Mengyao's eyes were slightly red as she said. Seeing that her daughter was about to cry, Huang Shifang also eased up a bit and spoke gently. Mom isn't saying that you can't find a boyfriend, but this is too fast. Mom is asking you, do you like Lin Xian? Like. Li Mengyao said firmly at this time. Huang Shifang helplessly rubbed her forehead. I believe my daughter's judgment. I see that he is handsome and very polite, and he is a good guy. But I'm still very angry with him for getting you pregnant before marriage. Li Mengyao's hands were clenched together as she spoke in a low voice. Actually, I also bear a great deal of responsibility for this. I was the one who approached him first. You. Alas, Huang Shifang sat down on the bed in a helpless manner. Mom, as soon as Lin Xian knew that I was pregnant, he said that he would take responsibility. He has been taking good care of me during this time. I really like Lin Xian. Li Mengyao also sat next to her mother and held her hands tightly. So did he propose to you? Huang Shifang asked. He said he would get your consent before getting married. Li Mengyao's face turned slightly red. It seems that Lin Xian still respects the opinions of the elders. At this time, Lin Xian's favorability in Huang Shifang's eyes increased slightly. At this time, Lin Xian in the living room, his forehead was sweating nervously, pondering why the two had been in there for so long. In the end, would the aunt not agree? Just as Lin Xian was still rambling, the mother and daughter walked out of the room and sat across from Lin Xian. The difference was that just now Lin Xian and Li Mengyao sat next to each other, but now it was the mother and daughter sitting next to each other. Huang Shifang looked at Lin Xian and still spoke in a gentle tone. Lin Xian, let me ask you a few questions. Don't worry, I won't hit you, and besides, I'm too old to hit you. Auntie, you ask. Lin Xian sat up straight and said firmly. I already know what happened. You said you want to take responsibility for Yao Yao, so how are you going to do that? I'm going to ask your permission to marry Yao Yao as soon as possible, and I'll give her a big wedding. Where are you going to live? You can't keep renting a place when you're pregnant. Huang Shifang felt that if the two were still in a relationship, renting a house was no problem, but now Li Mengyao was pregnant, they couldn't live in a rented house after the baby was born. Auntie, I've already bought a house, the one Mengyao and I are living in now. You see, these are the photos and the property ownership certificate. Lin Xian opened his phone and handed it to Huang Shifang. Huang Shifang took a look. Although she hadn't been to big cities much, she knew at a glance that this apartment was not cheap. What surprised her even more was that the property ownership certificate was in the names of both Lin Xian and Li Mengyao. This made Huang Shifan's impression of Lin Xian improve even more. Nowadays, many men who buy a house before marriage are unwilling to add the woman's name. So what are you going to do after you graduate? Huang Shifang continued. I haven't planned on working yet. For now, I'm going to take care of Mengyao. After the baby is born, and Mengyao has recovered from her confinement, then I'll make plans. Of course, I won't be idle during this time. I'll make some investments. Lin Xian said. With such a powerful system, who needs to work? Isn't it nice to be a good father? So what do your parents think? Huang Shifang asked, puzzled. My parents came to see Mengyao and me a few days ago. They really like Mengyao. After scolding me, they told me to go find you to apologize. Lin Xian suddenly stood up at this moment, his eyes and tone firm as he said. Auntie, please rest assured and leave your daughter to me. I will definitely take good care of Mengyao. Li Mengyao also stood up at this time and ran over to Lin Xian's side, her small hand tightly grasping Lin Xian's, and she looked at Huang Shifan with a determined expression. Huang Shifan looked at the two of them and shook her head helplessly. Lin Xian's heart suddenly sank when she saw her aunt shaking her head. Li Mengyao's eyes began to turn slightly red as she saw her mother shaking her head. The rice is already cooked, and you two love each other, so how can auntie still object? I just didn't expect to become a grandmother so soon. Huang Shifan looked at the two of them and couldn't help but shake her head, then smiled slightly. Mom! Li Mengyao finally couldn't hold back her red eyes. Thank you, auntie. Lin Xian said with surprise, while wiping Mengyao's tears with a tissue. Lin Xian, remember your promise. My mother and I have been dependent on each other since we were young and have suffered a lot, so I don't want my daughter to continue suffering in the future. If I find out that Yao Yao is not doing well, I will definitely come after you. Huang Shifan's tone was unusually firm, a change from her previous gentleness. Good. You can move in with us, auntie. Our place is big enough. That way, you and Mengyao can stay together. Lin Xian smiled. I'm an old person, I don't want to live with you young people. Besides, I've lived in Jingshui City for most of my life, I wouldn't be used to a big city. I'll be happy if you come back to visit often. Huang Shifang smiled. Okay, it's getting late. Lin Xian, you're tired from driving, so hurry back to the house and rest, Huang Shifang urged. Li Mengyao looked back into the guest room and said. Mom, didn't you clean up the guest room for Lin Xian? Huang Shifang looked at her silly daughter and smiled, saying. Lin Xian is sleeping with you in your room. Li Mengyao? Are you really like this, Mom? Chapter 16, Old Husband. Lin Xian walked into Li Mengyao's room. The room was warmly and tastefully decorated, with pink walls and a soft bed. The bookshelves were filled with all kinds of books, exuding a feminine atmosphere. Li Mengyao gave a smile. Lin Xian, let's go to bed. Without another word, Lin Xian changed into some pajamas and lay down on the bed. Li Mengyao turned her head away in embarrassment. Wife, now that auntie has agreed, shouldn't you call me husband? We're not married yet. I'm going to change, so turn around. Li Mengyao said with a blush. I'll turn around if you call me husband. Lin Xian said with a grin. Husband. Li Mengyao's voice contained a hint of annoyance, accompanied by a glare. Lin Xian then happily turned around, with his back facing Li Mengyao. Li Mengyao, who had changed her clothes, climbed onto the bed gently and hugged Lin Xian. Suddenly, a crisp voice rang in Lin Xian's mind. Ding dong, congratulations, the host has passed the mother-in-law's test. As a reward, please check your mailbox for a set of Jingshui City Times Garden Floor King. The system is back? This time it's giving away a set of furniture? Ding dong, congratulations, the host has triggered the lottery mechanism and is rewarded with one chance to draw. The prize pool includes 1. A 3-time critical strike card 2. A comprehensive cookbook of exclusive fish dishes 3. A free store decoration redemption coupon 4. Thank you for your patronage. Does the host wish to draw? Does the system have a lottery mode? From this perspective, as long as you don't win the thank you for your business, you'll make a profit. I'm willing to spend my friend Zhou Quan's condition of playing the soul every time to guarantee the bottom line in exchange for the top 3. Draw. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for winning a free store decoration redemption voucher, which has been placed on the desk in Jinwan Mansion. The system is really thoughtful. Now the decoration of the luxurious store in Jinwan Plaza is settled. Ding dong, a friendly reminder, the result of this host's lucky draw should be thank you for your patronage. But the host successfully used Joe Kwan's condition for every big bottom, so it was changed to a free store renovation redemption voucher. You can still play like this, Kwaner, I'm sorry. Laughing wildly, Lin Xian came back to his senses, and at this time Li Mengyao had already fallen asleep quietly. Then the two sank into a sweet dream together. On the other side, Zhou Quan, who was in the dormitory of Jinghai University, was clicking to pray, not believing in evil. I believe you're evil. Why is it the big bottom again? I've had the big bottom 4 times in a row. Miha, you come out here. Zhou Quan roared in anger. P.S. Has everyone had the experience of having the bottom in a row? Chen Jingming gave a disdainful glance and took out the computer to fire 10 rounds in a row in front of Zhou Quan's face. Shua. Golden Legend. Double yoke. You'd better give up on this game, it's beating you. Chen Jingming patted Zhou Quan on the back. I'll fight you to the death. Zhou Quan roared angrily in the dormitory. The two began to fight. 2 hours later, Li Mengyao was still asleep, and Lin Xian was the first to wake up and tiptoed out of the room. At this time, the phone suddenly rang, and it was an unfamiliar number. Lin Xian pressed the answer button. Hello, is this Mr. Lin? Yes. This is the sales manager of Times Homeland. Your flat 1201 in Building A is ready. When are you available to come and check it over? Can I go tomorrow? Of course. I'll be waiting for you tomorrow. After hanging up the phone, Lin Xian sighed, the system is really efficient. Lin Xian, you're awake? Come and chat with your auntie. Lin Xian walked into the living room and saw Huang Shifang sitting on the sofa, looking at him with a kind face. Well, I just woke up, Mengyao is still asleep. What do you think of Mengyao? Huang Shifang suddenly asked. Mengyao is gentle and kind, gentle and elegant, but at the same time, she is strong and decisive. She never shrinks from difficulties and always brings me the warmth of home. Lin Xian smiled. Mengyao, this girl, lost her father when she was young and lacked fatherly love, so she is very independent, has a strong sense of self-esteem, and is also a bit sensitive. So I want to ask you, please be more humble. Auntie is entrusting her only daughter to you, so please treat her well. Huang Shifang looked at Lin Xian with gentle eyes. Don't worry, Auntie, I will definitely take good care of Mengyao. Lin Xian responded firmly. Then Auntie can rest assured. By the way, what do you want to eat tonight? I'll cook it for you, Huang Shifang asked. Auntie, can I cook with you tonight? I want to ask you for advice on making Mengyao's home-cooked meals. Although Lin Xian has the strength of a 5-star chef, he can only bring out the best flavor of the ingredients, and cannot replicate the taste of Li Mengyao's home. Do you really want to learn? Huang Shifang was surprised, but also felt relieved. There are very few men who will cook for their wives nowadays. Well, I want to be able to make the taste of Mengyao's childhood home whenever she wants it. Okay, Auntie will teach you. Huang Shifang smiled and walked into the kitchen. In the evening, after a good meal, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao decided to go out for a stroll. The two of them held hands and walked to the small nearby park. Although the park was small, it was exquisitely laid out, with shady trees and blooming flowers. In the evening light, the soft lights created a tranquil and peaceful atmosphere. Lin Xian, this is the small park I used to come to when I was a child. What do you think? A hint of happiness flashed across Li Mengyao's face. This park is very nice and looks very warm and welcoming, but what? Li Mengyao asked in confusion. But you just called me wrong, you should call me husband. Lin Xian pulled Li Mengyao into his arms. I'm not used to being called that. Li Mengyao lowered her head, blushing. Call me a few more times and you'll get used to it. Lin Xian lifted Li Mengyao's chin so that she was looking at him. Old husband. Li Mengyao said sweetly. Chapter 17, Aren't we family? Looking at Li Mengyao's charming eyes, her mouth slightly open, giving off an indescribable charm. If it weren't for the crowds around the small park. Meow. A crisp and pleasant meow came from under Li Mengyao's feet. Ha, little raccoon, so you're still here. Li Mengyao got out of Lin Xian's embrace, squatted down, and gently stroked the cat's soft fur with her small hands. This tanuki cat has a colorful coat, a clear facial outline, soft and shiny fur, a unique pattern, and amber-colored eyes that are crystal clear. It's plump and doesn't look anything like a stray cat at all. This is the kitten I used to feed. Back then it was still a little kitten, super cute. I didn't think it would remember me. Li Mengyao said with a smile as she stroked the cat and looked back at Lin Xian. At this moment, the kitten narrowed its eyes and enjoyed the petting from Li Mengyao. It was indeed very cute, and you could not tell it was a stray cat at all. Lin Xian squatted down and reached out to pet the kitten, but the kitten lightly dodged and meowed. You don't know it well, so of course it won't let you pet it. But I have a way. Then Li Mengyao took out a small bag of snacks from her bag and handed it to Lin Xian. If you put the snacks on your hand, the kitten will come over. Li Mengyao tied her hair behind her ears and gave a quiet smile. I'll try. Lin Xian put the snacks in the palm of his hand and handed them to the raccoon dog. Sure enough, the raccoon dog walked to Lin Xian with light steps and licked the snacks with its little tongue. In no time, the snacks were licked clean, and the raccoon dog didn't forget to lick Lin Xian's palm with its tongue. Ha, it's quite ticklish. Lin Xian gently stroked the soft fur of the raccoon dog with his hand. After feeding the raccoon, the two of them wandered around a bit before heading back. That night, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao were lying in bed, playing with their phones. The two of them now naturally lay in the same bed. Honey, I'll take you somewhere tomorrow, Lin Xian said first. Where are you taking me? Li Mengyao blinked innocently. This is her hometown, and if anyone is going to take her anywhere, it's going to be me. Li Mengyao then thought about it, turned around, wrapped her small hands around Lin Xian's waist, pouted cutely, and said with a head tilted proudly. Are you hiding something from me again? There is something, but it's a good thing. Lin Xian's eyes could not hide the adoration. Tell me. Tell me. Li Mengyao grumbled in Lin Xian's arms, rubbing her delicate little face against Lin Xian's face. If you don't tell me, I'll ignore you. Li Mengyao looked up again, pouted her little mouth, and said arrogantly. Okay, I can tell you, but you have to give me a kiss, wife. Lin Xian took the opportunity to make a condition. Then you kiss. Li Mengyao hesitated slightly and whispered. Li Mengyao thought to herself, it's just a kiss on the face, I'm not that shy anymore. Lin Xian gently lifted Li Mengyao's chin and slowly approached her tempting cherry lips, and then his mouth went up to her mouth. Li Mengyao, it's just a kiss on the cheek, isn't it? After a long time, the lips separated. You told me to kiss you. Lin Xian's face is so thick that it has no boundaries. Li Mengyao's little head was angry at this time, so she raised her jade hand and pinched Lin Xian's soft flesh. It hurts, wife, I'm sorry. Lin Xian saw this and quickly begged for mercy. Li Mengyao slowly calmed down after giving Lin Xian's waist a few hard twists. Lin Xian knew that his wife was no longer angry, so he took her back into his arms and said gently. Okay, it's getting late, we should go to bed. Li Mengyao said softly. They then fell asleep together. The next day, the two slept until 9 o'clock. Huang Shifang had already left to prepare breakfast and go to work. At the table, Li Mengyao was quietly enjoying her breakfast when she suddenly remembered what happened yesterday, and her blushing face turned red again. Suddenly, she realized a problem. Lin Xian still hadn't said where he was going yesterday. And why was Lin Xian so familiar with? Lin Xian looked at his wife, who had blushed again, and asked. Honey, what's wrong? Li Mengyao shook her head slightly, glared at Lin Xian, and said angrily. Nothing. Lin Xian saw that Li Mengyao was angry again, and must have thought about yesterday. But they are getting married, so it's not a big deal, right? Li Mengyao's eyelids, which had been lowered, slowly lifted, and she stared into his eyes as she couldn't help but ask. Why are you so skilled? Lin Xian couldn't help but flinch slightly. He didn't expect Li Mengyao to ask this. Boys are all naturally talented in this area, and they learn as they go along. Li Mengyao thought of something very important. She had given Lin Xian her first kiss, but was it his first kiss? Did he learn as he went along, or had he already kissed many girls before? If not, then which girl had he given his first kiss to? Li Mengyao bit her lip in frustration and continued to press her question. So, was your first kiss a girl? Tell me the truth. Lin Xian felt a sense of crisis rising up, and quickly embraced Li Mengyao. Hey! What are you doing? Just tell me if it was. Li Mengyao angrily pounded Lin Xian. Lin Xian gently scratched Li Mengyao's pretty nose and smiled. Of course it was, last night was my first kiss. Li Mengyao was suddenly overcome with shy feelings, and subconsciously pulled her hair up to cover her slightly red cheeks as she spoke in a low voice. Oh. After breakfast, the two went downstairs to the Maybach Park downstairs. Lin Xian helped Li Mengyao sit in the passenger seat, then circled back to the driver's seat. You still haven't said where you want to go. Li Mengyao blinked her bright, doe-like eyes at Lin Xian. Go to Times Garden. Lin Xian started the car and slowly drove forward. Chapter 18. This is me. My husband. The unique body of the Maybach shined as it sped through the streets of Jingshui City, attracting the attention of those around it. You have to understand that in Jingshui City, a small fourth-tier city, a Maybach S680 worth over 3 million yuan is also very rare. The two soon arrived at Times Garden. Lin Xian parked the car and took Li Mengyao's hand as they walked to the gate. The gate of Times Garden was like a magnificent arch, imposing and solemn, exuding dignity and elegance. Although it was not comparable to the Riverview apartments in big cities, it was also a high-end residential area here. Because it was finely decorated, it also cost 10,000 yuan per square meter. Old husband, did you buy things again? Li Mengyao hesitated slightly, but still couldn't get used to calling him that. No, these are all things that should be bought, not a waste. Lin Xian smiled. Are you not happy with my old house? Li Mengyao asked, her head down and her voice low. Yes, Lin Xian's family is so well off, she definitely won't be able to get used to living in that old house. Now that Lin Xian is showing her Times Garden, she must have already bought it. Lin Xian could see what his wife was thinking, squeezed her hand and said gently. No, I slept very comfortably yesterday. But this is not a long-term solution, we still need to move in the future. I don't want my future mother-in-law to climb up to the 8th floor every day, and it's also close to where my aunt works, so I won't have to take the bus every morning. Plus, we'll be back here a lot in the future, so it's just easier to buy it together. Huang Shifang is still working at a nearby shopping mall, as she is not yet retired. Li Mengyao hugs Lin Xian tightly with both hands, looks up at him, and her eyes are full of stars of admiration. Thank you, honey. Lin Xian took hold of Li Mengyao's waist, leaned in and kissed her, and then laughed cheerfully. He wanted to thank his wife with practical actions. Li Mengyao's face began to blush, and she whispered, there are still people outside. Okay, stop it, let's go in and take a look. Lin Xian then picked up his phone and dialed the manager of Times Garden from the previous day. Hello, manager, this is Mr. Lin, who purchased 1201, Building A, Times Garden yesterday. May I check on the delivery status? Hello, Mr. Lin, of course you can. Where are you now? I'll be right there. I'm right here at the gate. Just a moment, I'll be right there. In a moment, a young man in a neat suit and with a confident smile trotted over. Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm the manager of Times Garden, my surname is Huang. Hello, Manager Huang, can you show us the way now? Of course, this way please. Manager Huang dared not be the least bit negligent. Mr. Lin had bought the King of Times Garden, a mid-rise building, one of the most expensive houses in the entire community. In the end, he paid the full price. Are you two here at Times Garden for the first time? Manager Huang asked with a smile. Yes, this is our first time. Lin Xian and Li Mengyao looked left and right, taking in the environment of the community. You bought a house for over 2 million yuan on your first visit, how rich are you? Then let me give you a brief introduction. Why is Times Garden called a garden? Because its greening rate is as high as 50%. From the entrance, you are greeted by a sea of lush greenery and blooming flowers, like a magnificent painting. The winding paths of the garden are lined with plants, and the various flowers compete with each other in beauty. Pavilions and buildings are dotted among them, creating a beautiful landscape that makes people feel carefree and happy. To put it simply, the garden environment of our times is second to none in the quiet city, and no other community dares to claim first place. With Manager Huang's introduction, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao both nodded in satisfaction. They soon arrived at the bottom of Building A of Times Garden. The design of the Building King was obviously more prominent and more imposing than the other buildings. They then took the elevator together to the door of 1201. Manager Huang took out the key and opened the door, and Lin Xian and Li Mengyao walked in. The house is also 200 square meters, with 4 bedrooms and 2 living rooms. The fine decoration is not bad, and the workmanship is quite meticulous. As expected, you get what you pay for. It's expensive for a reason. There's no furniture, and it will have to be redecorated and refurbished afterwards. It seems like it will be a while before they can move in.
Lin Xian took Li Mingyao's small hand and went to the large balcony.
The view from the penthouse overlooks the entire Times Garden, and the view is quite good.
What do you think, my dear? Lin Xian looked at Li Mingyao tenderly.
It's very beautiful, and it's a completely different style from our Jinwan mansion in Jinghai City.
Li Mingyao smiled, very happy.
Seeing that the two in front of him were very satisfied, Manager Huang was also very happy. He had closed a big deal and would get a lot of commission.
If you two have no problems, you can just sign here.
Manager Huang handed Lin Xian a sales contract, and Lin Xian carefully read it before signing his name.
Congratulations, you are now both proud owners of a Times Garden apartment. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me.
Manager Huang then took his leave. After Lin Xian and Li Mingyao had carefully inspected their new home, they took the elevator downstairs together to pick up their aunt from work at the nearby shopping mall. Just as they were leaving Building A of Times Garden, a clear voice rang in their ears.
Mingyao. Mingyao, it really is you, you're home?
The person who came was a fresh-faced and pretty girl, not stunning but with a charming smile.
Ting Ting? I didn't expect to see you here. Li Mingyao smiled happily.
Mingyao, it's been a long time since we've been together, come give me a hug. The two then happily hugged. It was then that Chen Tingting noticed that there was a super handsome guy behind Li Mingyao.
Mingyao, you're not going to introduce me, are you?
Chen Tingting narrowed her eyes and looked at Li Mingyao. Mingyao, I haven't seen you for a few months, and not only have you become more and more beautiful, but you also have such a handsome boyfriend. Li Mingyao turned around and put her arm around Lin Xian's arm. She gave a gentle wink with her elegant eyes and said with a smile, Tingting, let me introduce you, this is my husband, Lin Xian. Although they are not yet married, they already have a child, and they have done everything that should and shouldn't be done, so Li Mingyao simply introduced him as her husband.
Chen Tingting's eyes widened in disbelief. She hadn't seen her for just a few months, and Li Mingyao was already married?
Husband, this is my childhood friend, Chen Tingting, Li Mingyao continued. Chen Tingting quickly pulled Li Mingyao aside and hugged her, tears welling up in her eyes.
Mingyao, tell me this isn't true. Li Mingyao was a little overwhelmed and blinked innocently. It's true. Chapter 19, My mom is still here. You got married after only a few months? Chen Tingting asked. We're not married yet, but we should be soon.
Li Mingyao's face flushed as she glanced at Lin Xian, only to find that he was looking at her.
She quickly turned her head away.
Chen Tingting watched them exchange glances and said helplessly,
Mingyao, you really have him wrapped around your finger. Well, he's been very good to me. Li Mingyao nodded gently. Chen Tingting smiled and said, Okay, as a good sister I will of course bless you. But if Li Jia and the others knew that you were getting married, they would probably cry like hell tonight, haha.
Li Mingyao, don't talk nonsense, I have always been just friends with them. Chen Tingting waved her hand, I know, you have never given them a chance. By the way, why are you in Times Garden? Chen Tingting had only recently moved to Times Garden. Her parents had contributed a lot of money, and they had barely been able to buy a small apartment of less than 100 square meters. Li Mingyao, we came to look at the house, and we're going back now. Chen Tingting didn't think much of it, and said, Oh, that's fine. Come to my house to play next time you're free. I'll tell you, my view is superb. She remembered that Li Mingyao's family situation was not very good, and she didn't think it was likely that they could afford such an expensive neighborhood. She assumed they were just going to look around. Okay, we'll have plenty of opportunities to hang out in the future. Li Mingyao gave a small smile, walked quickly back to Lin Xian's side, took his arm, and said tenderly, Sorry for keeping you waiting. Lin Xian pinched Li Mingyao's little face and laughed. What did you guys talk about? Li Mingyao shook her little head and smiled happily. Nothing, just catching up. Okay, let's go back then. Lin Xian took Li Mingyao by the hand and was about to walk towards the parking lot. Suddenly, a shout came from behind. Mr. Lin, please wait a moment. Lin Xian saw Manager Huang running over. After catching up with Lin Xian, Manager Huang gasped for breath. Manager Huang, is there anything else? Lin Xian asked suspiciously. I forgot to give you the key to the community gate. I'm very sorry. Manager Huang handed Lin Xian the key while panting. I almost forgot too. Thank you. Lin Xian took the key and left with Li Mingyao. Not far away, Chen Tingting, who had not yet left, saw Manager Huang and was very puzzled. Isn't this the sales manager who sold me the house?
Did Li Mengyao and her husband already buy it? Then Chen Tingting walked up and asked, Manager Huang, hello, do you remember me?
Manager Huang turned his head and looked at Chen Tingting, apologetically saying, I don't quite remember.
May I ask what this is regarding? I'm the one who bought 3201 in Building E a few months ago. Chen Tingting said angrily, before the transaction was completed, you called every day to ask if I was buying or not, and if there were any discounts. Oh, I remember now, you bought the penthouse, didn't you? Sorry, I've been receiving a lot of customers lately and I couldn't remember. So what can I do for you? Manager Huang asked.
Chen Tingting said, I want to ask if the two people just now also bought Times Garden. Manager Huang, yes, they are indeed valued customers of Times Garden. They bought the 12th floor of Building A, the king of buildings, and paid the full price.
Chen Tingting's eyes widened in shock.
The king of buildings are all 200 square meter large flats, and they are still mid-level buildings.
The price is more than 2 million yuan.
Thinking back to her own situation, she was forced to choose the penthouse because she didn't have enough funds. She was just so proud of herself for inviting Li Mengyao to her home, but now she felt so ashamed. But she was also genuinely happy for Mengyao, and it seemed that she had met the right person. Then Chen Tingting took out her phone and said in a group chat, I just met your goddess, but it seems like she's getting married, so you guys don't stand a chance anymore.
This can't be true. Tell me it's not true. Who stole my goddess? I'll beat the crap out of him.
But she's getting married, so I still have a chance. Lin Xian, on the other side, drove with Li Mengyao to the supermarket to buy some groceries first, and then they went to Heping Mall.
Huang Shifang worked at Heping Mall and had just finished work.
When the people at the mall finished work, they saw a dark and slender Maybach parked in front of the entrance. Although some people didn't know how much it cost, they knew at a glance that it was a luxury car and must be very expensive. At this time, Huang Shifang and her colleague Chen Li were getting off work together and were preparing to take the bus home. The two of them walked and chatted, and Chen Li started to make advances towards Huang Shifang's daughter again.
Shifang, would you like to reconsider?
My boy works in a state-owned enterprise and is well paid. No thanks, Chen Li, my daughter already has a boyfriend.
Huang Shifang politely declined. Ha? When did that happen? What does your daughter's boyfriend do for a living? Chen Li was a little surprised. He hasn't graduated yet. Huang Shifang didn't want to reveal too much. He hasn't graduated? Then he doesn't have a job yet.
I'll tell you, it's hard to find a job these days. Look at my son, he works for a state-owned enterprise, and every year there are lots of people fighting to get in.
Chen Li boasted.
Huang Shifang thought about Chen Li's son, who always looked down on others and had an unconcerned attitude. She heard that he was also a womanizer, constantly changing girlfriends. How could she possibly hand her daughter over to someone like that? Just as Huang Shifang was about to go out and wait for the bus, a dark, slender Maybach stopped in front of them.
Mom, I've come to take you home.
Li Mengyao poked her head out and gave a bright smile.
Yo-yo, is this your car?
Huang Shifang said in shock. Although she didn't know anything about cars, she could still roughly tell the difference between an ordinary car and a luxury car. Auntie, get in the car, we've already bought the food for lunch.
I'll show off my cooking when we get back. Lin Xian laughed.
At this time, Li Mengyao also noticed Chen Li next to her and asked happily.
Auntie Chen, are you going back too? Let us give you a ride. No, no need. My son will come pick me up later. You guys go ahead. Ha ha. Chen Li smiled awkwardly. This is my son-in-law. I'll be going then.
Huang Shifang turned to Chen Li and said, before getting into the back seat of the Maybach.
Chen Li sulkily got on the next bus.
In the Maybach, Huang Shifang hesitated for a moment before asking.
Lin Xian, did you buy this car? Yes, Auntie, I just bought it a while ago, so it's convenient for taking Mengyao out.
Lin Xian drove steadily.
Buying such an expensive car for travel, Lin Xian's family must be very rich, right? Will the in-laws be difficult to deal with? Will they dislike our family? Mom, Auntie Chen's son never picks her up from work, does he? Li Mengyao asked curiously. Yes, she's just being stubborn.
Her son never picks her up. She always nagged me about introducing her son to you, and I kept saying that I already had a son-in-law. Now that she's seen for herself, she should give up.
Huang Shifang came back to her senses.
Lin Xian smiled and said,
it seems that my wife is still very popular. I have to keep a closer eye on her. Li Menyao's face instantly turned red, and she glared at Lin Xian and whispered. My mom is still here. Huang Shifang was in the back seat, covering her mouth and laughing. Chapter 20, Morning Sickness. Upon returning home, Lin Xian went to the kitchen and started cooking. Huang Shifang repeatedly tried to help but was rejected, so she had to watch TV in the living room with her daughter. In no time, Lin Xian had prepared a table of dishes, including steamed turbot, mushroom and scallop soup, stir-fried beef with spring onions, garlic steamed spare ribs, and stir-fried broccoli. Since Li Mengyao loved fish, there would be a fish dish at every meal. Lin Xian always cooked in different ways for Li Mengyao, and Li Mengyao's face was filled with a happy smile. It's time to eat, Lin Xian shouted. Lin Xian, you made so many dishes, Huang Shifang laughed. Not really, just 4 dishes and a soup. Auntie, come try my cooking. After saying this, Lin Xian first gave Li Mengyao a big piece of fish, and then a big piece of beef for Huang Shifang. Huang Shifang looked at her future son-in-law taking such good care of Lin Mengyao, and felt more at ease with Lin Xian. This is even better than many famous restaurants in Jing City. Lin Xian, who taught you to cook? This is delicious. Huang Shifang was shocked and exclaimed. Before, when I was at home and had nothing to do, I liked to cook. If it's delicious, eat more. Lin Xian smiled. After a while, Lin Xian looked at the food and said, Auntie, I bought a new apartment in Times Garden. Once it's redecorated, we can move in together. Huang Shifang's heart skipped a beat, and she said incredulously, Lin Xian, are you serious? Lin Xian nodded seriously. Huang Shifang was silent for a moment, thinking that a house in Times Garden was not cheap, and even if Lin Xian had money, he shouldn't spend it recklessly. And then said to Lin Xian, how much does that cost? The house is a bit old, but it's still livable. Lin Xian, listen to your aunt and give the house back. Lin Xian said firmly. It's fine, aunt, I'll just leave the old house. Times Garden is very close to where you work, so you won't have to climb up to the 8th floor anymore. Then she looked at Li Mengyao. Besides, Mengyao and I will be back here a lot in the future. The baby can also play in the Times Garden community. Huang Shifang thought about it and finally agreed. After a while, they would move to Times Garden together. After lunch, Lin Xian wanted to clean up the dishes, but Huang Shifang took them away from him. With nothing to do, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao returned to the bedroom early. Lin Xian wrapped his arms around Li Mengyao with one hand, while with the other he played with her hair. Wife, what style of decoration do you want for the new house? Li Mengyao raised her eyebrows and said. New Chinese style, I think. The Jinwan mansion style is already new and simple, so let's try something different this time. She said, showing Lin Xian the pictures she had found on her phone. Okay, this afternoon we'll go look at the interior design companies and furniture stores in Jingshui City. Okay. Li Mengyao's eyes were full of bright light, happy like a little child, and soon she was hugging Lin Xian and falling fast asleep. At 2 p.m., Lin Xian got up and looked at Li Mengyao, who was still sleeping soundly in his arms. Unable to bear to wake the sleeping beauty, he quietly and lightly walked out of the room. After tidying up a bit, she saw Huang Shifang walking out of the room to go to work. Auntie, let me give you a ride to work. I'll go check out the decoration company. Lin Xian said with a smile. That's too much trouble. No trouble. I'm just sitting around anyway. Afterwards, Lin Xian drove Huang Shifang to Heping Mall in Maybach and then went to check out some famous decoration companies in Jingshui City. I don't know how long it took, but Li Mengyao's little hand kept touching the bed's perimeter, as if she was looking for something. Where's my husband? She couldn't feel his hand after circling the bed, which meant that Lin Xian was no longer in the room. Li Mengyao gently rubbed her eyes, got up with difficulty, and walked out of the room. She searched the entire house but couldn't find Lin Xian. Li Mengyao thought for a moment, then took out her phone. Hubby, where are you? She sent a message with a bear emoji that looked angry. 5 minutes later. Honey, are you awake? Li Mengyao saw it and immediately sent a video call. She hadn't done so before because she was afraid that Lin Xian was driving and didn't want to answer a video call. Soon, Lin Xian's handsome face appeared on Li Mengyao's phone screen. Why didn't you wake me up? We said we'd go together. Although his tone was calm, the expression between his brows fully indicated that she was a little upset. I saw that you were sleeping so soundly, so I didn't wake you.
I looked at several places, and I will bring back the plans and renderings for you to see when the time comes.
You just rest at home.
Lin Xian smiled wryly and quickly tried to cheer her up.
Then come back early.
Lin Xian was also thinking of her, so she didn't continue to act childish.
I just looked at the time, and I slept until almost 5 o'clock too.
Lin Xian told me that I might not even be able to get up.
Okay, my dear wife, I will come back after I pick up your aunt.
Then Li Mengyao hung up the phone, her face flushed.
Wife is wife, what's with the adult?
Lin Xian has worked hard all afternoon and should be hungry when he gets home.
I'll cook dinner tonight, let Lin Xian taste my cooking.
Li Mengyao then found the ingredients she had bought for lunch in the fridge and started bustling around in the kitchen. At first, she didn't feel anything unusual, but halfway through, a sudden wave of nausea hit her. Li Mengyao covered her mouth, hurried to the toilet and began to vomit violently.
She didn't know how long she had been vomiting. When she came out of the bathroom, Li Mengyao's face was pale.
She picked up a small glass and drank some hot water. She sat on the sofa and stared blankly, gradually coming to her senses.
I never thought that the first time I got morning sickness would be like this.
Then the door opened and Lin Xian and Huang Shifang came home.
I'm home.
Lin Xian smiled happily. Li Mengyao hurriedly got up, walked quickly forward, threw herself into Lin Xian's arms, and said in a hoarse voice,
Welcome home.
Lin Xian felt something was wrong as soon as he heard it. The voice sounded like it had been crying. Then he looked at his wife in his arms again. Her eyes were red, with faint traces of tears, and her lips were quite dry.
My dear, what's wrong? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have left you alone at home. It won't happen again.
Lin Xian picked up Li Mengyao and gently placed her on the sofa.
It wasn't that I just wanted to cook dinner for you. I felt really sick halfway through, and then I threw up.
Li Mengyao rubbed gently against Lin Xian's chest and said in a soft voice. Huang Shifang looked at the two of them and knew that she was now superfluous, so she said to Lin Xian. Lin Xian, I'll go make dinner first, you take care of Yao Yao.
Lin Xian nodded at Huang Shifang, okay, auntie.
Lin Xian, who had turned back, gently wiped away Li Mengyao's tears with a tissue. He felt distressed when he thought about Li Mengyao violently vomiting in the toilet.
The first 3 months are the high incidence period of morning sickness in pregnant women.
Lin Xian had always given Li Mengyao small meals and frequent meals, and resolutely prevented her from entering the kitchen, in order to avoid morning sickness as much as possible.
In the future, don't enter the kitchen anymore, and leave all the housework to your husband, understand?
Li Mengyao leaned against Lin Xian's chest, and the intense discomfort that she had just felt had also disappeared, revealing a happy smile.
Chapter 21 I can't finish eating it all. After dinner, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao went for a walk along the river.
Jingshui River is the mother river of Jingshui City, so at night the residents of Jingshui City would come to the river for a walk.
Since Li Mengyao's home was far from the river, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao drove there in the Maybach.
When they arrived at the river, Lin Xian parked the car and took Li Mengyao's hand as they strolled along the river together. The banks of the Jingshui River were bustling with people, all smiling as they came and went. The river shimmered in the light, reflecting the neon lights on the shore, and the whole place was full of the energy of life.
Life here is really pleasant.
Lin Xian looked out at the night view of the Jingshui River and sighed.
Yes, I really like this small fourth-tier city.
There's no hustle and bustle of a first-tier city, just a laid-back lifestyle and a peaceful atmosphere.
Li Mengyao gave Lin Xian a sweet smile. After the house in Times Garden is renovated, we can come back here anytime.
Lin Xian squeezed Li Mengyao's little hand and smiled.
Well, when I was a child, I used to come here to play a lot.
I remember there was a kind old man selling sugar-coated hawthorn here. He used to give me a sugar-coated hawthorn on a skewer. Li Mengyao kept reminiscing about her childhood, and Lin Xian listened quietly.
Walking by the river, they soon passed an ice cream shop. This is a popular shop in Jingshui City. Because the ice cream is delicious, there are always long queues every night. Honey, do you want some ice cream?
Li Mengyao looked at the ice cream in the shop, and her stomach grumbled uncontrollably, and her face turned red.
I want some.
Because Li Mengyao had morning sickness in the afternoon, she didn't have much of an appetite for dinner and didn't eat much. Now that she's come out for a walk, she's quickly getting hungry. Lin Xian takes Li Mengyao to the ice cream shop, but since there are still a lot of people in line, he takes her to an empty seat.
Honey, you sit here while I go in line to buy some. What flavor do you want? Li Mengyao shakes Lin Xian's hand gently and says with a smile. I'll have strawberry. Thanks, honey. Lin Xian takes Li Mengyao's hand and kisses the back of it, which is very fragrant. Good.
Li Mengyao quickly pulled her hand back, her face blushing. How can this person be so shameless, kissing in public? Lin Xian smiled and went to the back of the line to start queuing. Seeing that the line was still long, Li Mengyao picked up her phone and started watching videos.
Lu Yusen, my big yo-yo, where are you right now? I'm coming to visit you. Li Mengyao, I'm in Jingshui City, do you want to come? Lu Yusen, why did you suddenly go home? Li Mengyao, to bring my husband home. Lu Yusen, you're already calling him your husband? You're not even married yet. Li Mengyao, it's almost time. Lu Yusen, so auntie has already agreed? She didn't break his legs? Li Mengyao, don't talk nonsense, my mom already agreed. Lu Yusen, you really are useless when it comes to relationships. You just give yourself away. Okay, I'll go play by myself without you, and I won't eat your dog food. Li Mengyao sent a little bear nodding back. Just as she finished chatting with Lu Yusen, a guy sat down opposite Li Mengyao. The guy was quite handsome, dressed neatly, and had a fluffy Korean-style hairstyle that was very fashionable these days. He smiled and struck up a conversation with Li Mengyao. Hello, beautiful girl, can I have your contact information? Li Mengyao glanced at him and politely said. I'm sorry, I already have a husband. The guy saw that Li Mengyao still looked like a student and that there was no so-called husband next to her, so he guessed that she was just making it up. We're destined to meet, so I just want to get your contact information. Li Mengyao saw that he was still not giving up and said coldly. Please don't bother me anymore. I told you I have. She already said she has a husband, and I am him. Lin Xian arrived at this time, and his eyes stared fiercely at the man who was hitting on his wife. Li Mengyao immediately took Lin Xian's hand and hid behind him. The boy looked at the person in front of him, who was taller and more handsome than himself, and knowing that he could not compete, he walked away in a dispirited manner. Wife, next time you encounter a hit-on, just call me directly and I will come over right away. Lin Xian smiled and handed the extra-large strawberry sundae to Li Mengyao. Why did you only buy one, and there are so many of these that I can't finish them all? Li Mengyao nodded and gave a sweet smile. Eat slowly. Lin Xian petted Li Mengyao's little head, and then took her hand and continued their walk by the river. Li Mengyao looked at the extra-large strawberry sundae in front of her, and after thinking about it, she took out her phone, took a photo, and sent it to her best friend Lu Yusen. Lu Yusen? Li Mengyao, it's delicious. Lu Yusen, Mengyao, be a person. Before, when Lu Yusen had a boyfriend in college, she showed off their affection in front of Li Mengyao every day, and kept encouraging Li Mengyao to find one too. Now that they have broken up, it is Li Mengyao's turn to show off her affection to Lu Yusen. Li Mengyao straightened her hair and raised the corners of her mouth slightly. Lin Xian saw his wife giggling at her phone and asked curiously. What's so funny? Li Mengyao came back to her senses and looked at Lin Xian innocently. Nothing. I can't finish it all. Li Mengyao looked at the strawberry sundae that she had already eaten half of, and it was already in a mess. Give it to your husband, I'll finish it. Lin Xian smiled tenderly. Did you want to eat mine from the beginning? Realizing Lin Xian's plan, Li Mengyao felt embarrassed and couldn't continue, so she glared at Lin Xian and handed him the strawberry sundae in her hand. Lin Xian took it and began to eat it in large bites, and before long it was gone. The two continued their walk by the river, and soon Li Mengyao felt a little tired. Honey, I'm a little sleepy, let's go back. Li Mengyao said, taking Lin Xian's hand. Okay, let's go back the same way. Just as the two were about to go back, an old man was waiting for customers with a smile on his face, guarding his sugar-coated hawthorn stall in the bustling street. That's the grandfather who used to give me sugar-coated hawthorn when I was little. Li Mengyao said excitedly. Let's go buy a bunch of sugar-coated hawthorn then. I think he only has one last bunch left, so let's let the old man close the stall early. Lin Xian looked at Li Mengyao tenderly. Well. Lin Xian took Li Mengyao's hand and walked up to the old man. Grandpa, how much are the sugar-coated hawthorn skewers? Lin Xian could feel Li Mengyao's happiness. 3 yuan for one skewer. I'll take one. Grandpa, do you remember me? Li Mengyao smiled, very happy. The old man selling the sugar-coated hawthorn skewers looked up at the girl in front of him. He felt that she looked familiar, and suddenly remembered. You're the little girl who used to eat my sugar-coated hawthorn skewers when you were little. Chapter 22, babies grow up fast. It's me. I never thought Grandpa would remember me.
Li Mengyao's eyes were all smiles. Ha, how could I forget? When I was a kid, there were always kids around me buying sugar-coated hawthorn. You were standing not far away, drooling. Grandpa Sugar-Coated Hawthorn smiled kindly, his frown at the corner of his eyes narrowing into a slit. Li Mengyao said a little embarrassed, I was just being greedy.
Grandpa Tanghulu. That's why I always save one for you, ha ha ha. Here, this last bunch of strawberry Tanghulu is for you.
Because Tanghulu is usually made from hawthorn, and pregnant women are advised to avoid hawthorn-based foods as they can have a negative effect on the body. However, if the Tanghulu is made from fruit, such as the strawberry Tanghulu in front of them, pregnant women can eat it.
Li Mengyao quickly waved her hands.
No, we'll buy it. Lin Xian took out her phone and scanned the QR code.
Yes, Grandpa, we'll buy it.
Thank you for taking care of her when she was little. Grandpa Tanghulu looked at the two of them holding hands and smiled with satisfaction. I just felt sorry for you when you were a little girl, with two pigtails that made you extra cute, and reminded me of my granddaughter.
Here, your Tanghulu,
he said, handing the last string of Tanghulu to Li Mengyao.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Li Mengyao was happy like a little kid, unable to stop smiling. Lin Xian secretly left 100 yuan for the sugar plum grandfather when he left, to thank him for taking care of Li Mengyao. Lin Xian and Li Mengyao continued to retrace their steps. On the way, Li Mengyao ate the sugar plums while holding Lin Xian's hand, swinging it up and down, just like when she was a child.
Wife, is it delicious?
Lin Xian smiled. Yes, it tastes just like when I was a child, it hasn't changed at all. Li Mengyao nodded happily, staring up at Lin Xian blankly and asked.
Do you want some?
Lin Xian looked at the sugar-coated hawthorn that Li Mengyao handed him and smiled.
I just ate, you eat it. Oh.
Li Mengyao continued to taste her own sugar-coated hawthorn, which was sweet and sour and full of flavor.
There's only one left, are you sure you don't want it?
Li Mengyao looked at Lin Xian and her elegant eyes flickered slightly.
No.
Lin Xian said firmly, and after he finished speaking, he kept looking at Li Mengyao's tempting cherry lips. Li Mengyao always felt that Lin Xian was up to no good, but she was too simple to think of anything. If she wasn't going to eat it, she wasn't going to eat it. She then stuffed the last piece of sugar-coated haw in her mouth, and after holding it there for a while, her cheeks were about to puff up when Lin Xian suddenly said with a smile. Honey, I want to eat some sugar-coated haw now.
There's none left.
Li Mengyao looked at the hawthorn skewer in her hand and shook her head.
But there's still one left. There's still one left in my mouth.
Li Mengyao suddenly realized something and quickly reached out to cover her mouth.
You can't say MMM. But someone else got there first.
Lin Xian put an arm around Li Mengyao's shoulders and lifted her chin with his other hand, leaning in to kiss those tempting lips. This caused Li Mengyao to push him away, look around first to see if there were any people around, fortunately there weren't any, and then look at Lin Xian angrily.
Why did you take my sugar-coated hawthorn?
I like sugar-coated hawthorns that are sweet on the tongue. Lin Xian said shamelessly. Li Mengyao was really angry and raised her hand to twist Lin Xian's waist. It hurts, don't twist anymore, I already have several scars on my waist.
Lin Xian, who was still smiling cheekily in the previous second, had a fierce expression in the next second. Humph.
Li Mengyao pouted her lips and twisted her face slightly, not showing it to Lin Xian.
Okay, honey, I know I was wrong.
Let's go home, Lin Xian said, trying to make light of the situation. Every time he says he knows he was wrong, it's the same thing next time. Li Mengyao was so angry that she continued to turn her face away from Lin Xian.
She can't be really mad, can she?
Lin Xian suddenly felt the candied hawthorn in his mouth turn from sweet to sour. After a while, Li Mengyao turned her head and looked at the dumbfounded Lin Xian, and burst out laughing. Are you scared? Li Mengyao gently patted Lin Xian with her small hand. I'm scared, honey. Lin Xian followed suit and laughed.
Next time, don't suddenly do it in public. You can kiss me again when we get home.
Li Mengyao stared with her small, bright eyes like a doe, and whispered. Okay. Lin Xian answered cheerfully, without the slightest hesitation. The two finally returned to where they had parked. After Lin Xian had delivered Li Mengyao to the passenger seat, he returned to the driver's seat, started the car, and drove towards home. In the car, Li Mengyao looked at her little belly and asked Lin Xian.
Honey, do you think we're having a boy or a girl? Is it possible that we're having one of each?
Lin Xian replied with a smile while driving steadily.
How could we be so lucky as to have twins at once?
Li Mengyao raised her eyebrows and smiled happily.
It's almost 3 months already, the baby needs to grow up quickly.
Li Mengyao gently stroked her soft little belly.
Honey, I want to feel it too.
Lin Xian glanced over and said enviously.
Let's talk about it when we get home. You concentrate on driving, don't look around. Li Mengyao's face flushed.
Soon, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao arrived downstairs.
Lin Xian parked the car and took Li Mengyao's hand as they prepared to go home.
Li Mengyao saw someone standing in front of her house. He was holding a bouquet of flowers. When she looked closer, she realized it was Li Jie. Li Jie was the monitor of Li Mengyao's high school and had been pursuing Li Mengyao for a long time, but Li Mengyao did not like him. She had rejected him several times clearly, but Li Jie felt that since Li Mengyao didn't have a boyfriend anyway, he had a chance, so he kept pestering her. Later, Li Mengyao simply ignored him. Li Jie saw Li Mengyao holding the hand of a man, getting off from the luxury car Maybach. His fists tightened, but he still tried hard to keep smiling. It seems that Chen Tingting was telling the truth, Li Mengyao really has a boyfriend.
Mengyao, I heard you were back, why didn't you say anything? These flowers are for you.
Li Jie smiled and handed the flowers to Li Mengyao, completely ignoring Lin Xian. Li Mengyao frowned when she saw it was Li Jie.
Li Jie, why are you in front of my house?
I told you before, we're not suitable for each other, please give the flowers to someone else, thank you. After saying this, he took Lin Xian's hand and was about to go home. Unexpectedly, this Li Jie once again blocked the way of Lin Xian and Li Mengyao, anxiously shouting.
Mengyao, can't you give me a chance?
I have now been hired by a well-known company in Jingshui City. My parents are also both working, and we will have a good life in Jingshui City in the future. Li Mengyao's eyes were cold, and she interrupted angrily.
Say that again, there is no way we can be together, and I already have a husband, get out of the way.
Lin Xian still saw Li Mengyao so angry for the first time, looking at Li Jie in front of him who was still not giving up, his fists clenched.
But, ouch, ouch, ouch.
Li Jie still wanted to explain, but Lin Xian reached out and grabbed Li Jie's arm, spinning it forcefully and holding him down. After the first reward given by the system to enhance his physique, Lin Xian's strength was already far greater than normal. I've made it very clear, if you dare to harass my wife again, I won't be so polite next time, get out. Lin Xian then gave Li Jie a hard kick in the butt, and Li Jie felt like a dog eating shit.
Chapter 23, You're the best, honey.
Li Jie clambered up in a disheveled state, his face grim, his teeth clenched as he watched Lin Xian and Li Mengyao leave.
He would not give up easily.
He had been pursuing her for so many years that he had become obsessed.
He then limped away.
After Lin Xian and Li Mengyao returned, it was already late, so the two quickly washed up and lay down in bed. Li Mengyao was quietly looking at her phone, while Lin Xian was staring at his wife in a daze.
Li Mengyao quickly noticed the abnormality and put down her phone.
She turned around, embraced Lin Xian, and looked up.
Honey, what are you thinking about? You've been staring at me.
Although they weren't married yet, Li Mengyao was already calling Lin Xian honey very naturally.
It was just a matter of time. Lin Xian came back to his senses, put his arms around Li Mengyao and said tenderly. I was thinking, how come my wife is so popular? This morning, the aunt's son, the boy at the ice cream shop tonight, and the one downstairs just now. Just one day and 3 people tried to steal my wife, it's infuriating just thinking about it.
Li Mengyao was a little helpless but couldn't hide her gentle smile.
Is that why you're like this? It's not something I can control.
They had to come up to me, there was nothing I could do. Lin Xian smiled, lowered his head, and pressed his forehead against hers, revealing his trademark smile.
Then I'll have to keep a closer eye on her in the future.
Sure enough, an overwhelming kiss ensued, starting with a kiss on the forehead, then moving to the tip of the nose, and finally stopping on her lips. Lin Xian and Li Mengyao stayed in Jingshui City for a few more days. After arranging the renovations and furniture placement at Times Garden, they were ready to depart for Jinghai City today.
The 3 of them went downstairs.
Huang Shifan looked at Lin Xian taking such good care of her daughter and smiled with relief. She handed the household register in her hands to Li Mengyao. Mengyao, take good care of this household register and remember to come back and visit often. Li Mengyao looked blankly at the household register in her hands. She knew what her mother meant and her eyes began to water. Lin Xian saw this and took Li Mengyao's hand, speaking firmly.
Auntie, don't worry, we'll come back often. Ripples appeared on Li Mengyao's face. Mom, we will definitely come back often, she said.
Huang Shifang's eyes also turned slightly red as she said gently, Mom knows, be careful on the road. After helping Li Mengyao sit firmly in the back seat, Lin Xian got into the driver's seat, started the Maybach, and slowly drove off.
Huang Shifang could no longer hold back her tears.
She and her daughter had depended on each other for more than 10 years, and now she was getting married. In the Maybach, Li Mengyao was also weeping like rain, her eyes red and puffy. Lin Xian was quietly driving in front of her, knowing the hardships of the mother and daughter, so he didn't go out of his way to comfort them, giving them some time. Soon, 4 hours had passed.
The dark, slender Maybach once again pulled into the parking lot of the Jinwan mansion.
Lin Xian parked the car steadily, got out of the car, and went to the back seat. Li Mengyao got into the car not long ago, and after crying for a while, she fell asleep. Now she was sleeping quietly, like a cute little girl.
Lin Xian gently picked up Li Mengyao and slowly walked towards the elevator.
Soon the beauty in his arms woke up, their eyes met, and she looked at Lin Xian confusedly.
You're awake? Lin Xian's eyes could not hide his adoration. Hurry up and put me down. Li Mengyao's pretty face turned red. We're still outside, it'll be embarrassing if someone sees. It's fine, there's no one here.
Lin Xian said, and went into the elevator, pressing the button for the 16th floor. The elevator slowly ascended, and when it reached the first floor, it suddenly stopped.
The elevator door opened, and an older woman and an older man got in.
The woman looked at the two of them, and a smile could not be hidden at the corner of her mouth. At this moment, Li Mengyao was so embarrassed that she buried her head in Lin Xian's chest, and used her small hands to pull her hair to hide her blushing face. Finally, they reached the 16th floor. The elevator was unusually slow today. After getting out of the elevator, Li Mengyao quickly struggled to get down, and Lin Xian slowly lowered her as well. Li Mengyao angrily pounded Lin Xian's hand with her small hand, which was still laughing, but she didn't dare to use much force, for she was afraid of breaking it and feeling bad.
The two finally returned to their home in Jinwan Mansion.
As soon as they arrived home, Lin Xian started cleaning, and Li Mengyao joined in, doing what she could.
Lin Xian originally disagreed, wanting her to rest, but Li Mengyao insisted on joining in, otherwise Lin Xian would not be allowed to kiss her tonight.
This was a killer move for Lin Xian, so there was no choice but to give Li Mengyao some very light tasks to do. Working together, the two of them didn't get tired, and soon the house was cleaned up.
In the few days since returning, Li Mengyao has been preparing her graduation thesis.
These two are still fourth-year students, and they can only officially graduate after passing the graduation thesis defense with their university advisor. In contrast, Lin Xian is acting as if nothing is wrong, playing with this and that.
In the evening, Lin Xian is in the lobby, staring at his 70-inch big screen, enjoying the movie. Li Mengyao walks out of the room, embraces Lin Xian, and rests her chin on his shoulder. She can't help but ask curiously,
"Honey, you don't have to prepare for your graduation defense." Lin Xian looked at his lovely wife in his arms and couldn't help leaning over to kiss her soft face. "Your husband is not talented, because he has performed so well before, he has been exempted from the graduation defense and graduated directly." Li Mengyao puffed up her cheeks and complained.
"Ah, why is that so?" Lin Xian couldn't stop smiling. "Your husband is very talented, don't you know?"
Li Mengyao hooked Lin Xian's neck with her small hands and gave him a little bite on his face.
"I know, honey, you're the best."
After that, she quickly pulled away and ran back to her room with her little feet tapping. Lin Xian touched the faint tooth mark on his face and the corner of his mouth rose slightly.
Chapter 24. You've been smiling the whole time, without stopping. The day of the graduation defense soon arrived.
It was a sunny day with fresh air, and the birds were singing merrily in the branches, as if celebrating the graduating students. Li Mengyao's graduation defense was scheduled for the afternoon, so in order to be in a good state, she went to take a nap after lunch. After a short nap, she got up early and started to carefully dress herself up. She was wearing a snow-white shirt with a slightly open collar, showing off her slender neck and delicate collarbone. She paired it with a black long skirt, which swayed lightly with her every step, like a dancing butterfly. Her black, shiny hair fell over her shoulders like a waterfall, exuding a faint fragrance. Li Mengyao walked up to Lin Xian, spun around lightly, and asked with a bright smile on her lips,
"Honey, do you like it?"
Lin Xian couldn't help but go up to Li Mengyao, hug her, and sniff the charming fragrance exuding from her body. He whispered,
"You look good. My wife looks good in anything."
Li Mengyao was so angry that she scolded,
"You're so smooth talking."
"Okay, let's go," Lin Xian said with his signature smile.
Can I go in and watch your graduation defense?
Li Mengyao hurriedly shook her head and said firmly.
No. I'll be nervous. Okay, stop messing around, we're going to be late.
Lin Xian and Li Mengyao walked out of the room and went to the parking lot of Jinwan Mansion. Lin Xian still chose to drive his little black car the name Lin Xian had given to the Maybach. In a short while, Lin Xian arrived at the school parking lot in his Maybach. Since Li Mengyao was a Chinese literature major, Lin Xian took Li Mengyao's hand and led her to the teaching building of the School of Arts, found the corresponding classroom, and looked inside. There were 5 tutors sitting in the front row and the back was full of panicked students. Lin Xian said gently to Li Mengyao, "Go on, don't be nervous, I'll wait for you at the door." In fact, with Li Mengyao's diligent study throughout her 4 years of university, she basically had no pressure dealing with this graduation defense, but facing 5 tutors picking on your mistakes, she was still a little nervous.
Li Mengyao blushed and looked at Lin Xian. Well, a kiss will make me less nervous.
Lin Xian was also taken aback.
Today, is his wife being so proactive?
He then put his arm around Li Mengyao and gave her a light kiss on the forehead.
Go.
Li Mengyao revealed a smile and happily walked into the classroom.
Did he really think Lin Xian would be so honest?
He had yet to see Lin Xian give a speech in class, and Lin Xian gave his trademark smile again. Lin Xian returned to the parking lot and took out a black hat from the Maybach. After putting on the hat, Lin Xian returned to the room where Li Mengyao was giving her graduation reply, and sneaked into the classroom through the back door. He sat in the last row, and it was hard to notice him if you didn't look closely. Seeing Li Mengyao in front of him still closing her eyes to relax, Lin Xian took out his phone and started snapping away. He knew that if he missed this opportunity, he would never get another chance, because he had only met Li Mengyao during the final stage of his university studies. After an unknown period of time, Li Mengyao finally walked up to the podium. Unlike her usual gentle and weak self, Li Mengyao was quite confident on the podium, speaking fluently and clearly. Her beautiful face was filled with a confident smile, and she won high praise from the tutors present for her profound knowledge of Chinese language and culture and her outstanding ability to express herself. Lin Xian quickly took out his phone and started snapping away.
She is the school beauty queen, beautiful and outstanding in her studies.
Yes, but I heard that she seems to have a boyfriend.
Damn, which freshman has stolen our school beauty queen away? It seems to be from our school too.
Lin Xian heard a few boys next to him discussing this, and his mouth corners were smiling.
Hey, classmate, what are you smiling at? The boy next to him asked curiously. Did I smile?
Lin Xian laughed. You've been smiling the whole time, without stopping.
The other boy said. I was thinking of something happy. Lin Xian's mouth corners rose. What exactly was so funny? Tell me.
At this time, Li Mengyao had finished her graduation defense and returned to her seat to pack her things. Seeing that his wife was getting ready to leave, Lin Xian quickly slipped away.
Classmates, I have to go first, you guys do your best.
After saying that, he secretly slipped out the back door of the classroom. This person doesn't seem to be from our college, strange.
A few people continued their discussion.
Lin Xian, who had walked out of the classroom, looked at his phone as if nothing had happened, and stood at the door waiting for Li Mengyao. His handsome figure was as straight as a pine tree, and his handsome face with a slight smile attracted the attention of the girls around him.
Finally, one girl couldn't help but come forward. Hello, classmate, can I get your contact information to get to know you better?
This female classmate had a rather sweet appearance, petite figure, and charming smile, which was easy to make people feel good about her.
I'm sorry, I already have a boyfriend.
Lin Xian just opened his mouth to refuse. Suddenly, a figure darted over, and Li Mengyao took Lin Xian's hand, her eyes slightly cold.
Sorry, classmate, he already has a girlfriend.
The female classmate saw that it was the school's flower girl, and in comparison, she paled and left in a dismal mood.
Wife, how was the graduation defense?
Lin Xian smiled.
Not well. As soon as I came out, I saw you with another girl. Li Mengyao's face fell, and she was full of unhappiness.
It's an injustice, my dear wife, I just arrived at the classroom door not long ago. Lin Xian hurriedly protested.
Who knows you?
Li Mengyao pouted, looking serious.
I have a way to prove my innocence.
Lin Xian said seriously.
What way?
Li Mengyao of course saw that the girl went to talk to Lin Xian first, but she still wanted to tease him. Lin Xian took out his phone and found the photo he had just taken of Li Mengyao in the classroom. Li Mengyao in the photo was beautiful and charming, exuding an elegant temperament.
Ah, you were peeping again.
Li Mengyao then noticed that Lin Xian had been wearing a black hat since she didn't know when.
It looked quite handsome.
But she was still angry, so she reached out her hand and grabbed Lin Xian's waist. Lin Xian took advantage of the situation and put his arm around Li Mengyao.
Go ahead and squeeze, I'm tough. I just want to see what you look like in class and experience what it's like to be in class with you.
I won't have this chance again, Lin Xian continued gently.
After the graduation defense, there will be the graduation ceremony, and normally you won't come back to class. Okay, then. Send me the photo.
Li Mengyao's cheeks turned red, she spoke softly, and looked up lightly.
Okay.
Lin Xian sent the picture to Li Mengyao, and also sent it to a group chat of a loving family.
Zhang Shulan, my daughter-in-law is really beautiful.
Lin Zhangwei, no wonder she's my son's wife, she has the same taste as I did when I was young.
Lin Cici, is this my sister-in-law? Zhang Shulan, Cici, you're playing with your phone in school? How dare you?
Lin Cici, I'm sorry, I sent it to the wrong person.
I'm not Cici. Lin Xian, speechless.
At this moment, a few boys who had just been discussing next to Lin Xian also came out of the classroom. They saw the school beauty being held by a handsome boy and gnashed their teeth. It seems that the news that the school beauty already had a boyfriend was true.
Wait, no, isn't he the boy who was smiling next to us just now? Damn, no wonder he was smirking the whole time. Chapter 25, that's not my boyfriend, that's my husband. You just said you wanted to experience what it's like to be in class with me, right?
Li Mengyao rolled her eyes, tilted her head, and smiled sweetly.
Yes. Lin Xian said.
Then let's go to the school cafeteria for dinner, neither of us has ever eaten together at school. Li Mengyao raised her eyebrows, looking proud and arrogant.
No, it's not clean outside.
Lin Xian shook his head. Oh, just once, and besides, school should be clean compared to the outside.
Li Mengyao continued to flirt.
Seeing that Lin Xian was still frowning and hesitating, Li Mengyao took Lin Xian's hand and started walking towards the cafeteria.
Let's go, I'm hungry already, if you don't go, I'll go by myself.
Lin Xian had no choice but to agree. Soon, the two arrived at the Plum Garden Canteen, which had the best reputation at the university. It was also dinner time, and students from Jinghai University came to the canteen one after the other to get their meals. Auntie, I'll have a fried egg with tomatoes, a braised fish, some stir-fried broccoli with shrimp, and 2 fried chicken legs.
Auntie, please don't shake your hands, this is the last time we'll eat in the canteen at university.
Li Mengyao said happily, beaming like a little child.
Okay, Auntie will give you more. The auntie made a larger than usual portion for Li Mengyao.
Lin Xian then casually ordered a few dishes, and the two went to a corner of the cafeteria to start eating. This is delicious, I used to come to Plum Garden a lot. As she said this, Li Mengyao put half a braised fish and a fried chicken leg into Lin Xian's bowl.
No wonder I haven't seen you much in university.
Lin Xian's dormitory and class were all in the south of the university, and he ate in the bamboo garden in the south, while Li Mengyao was just the opposite, in the north. Plum Garden was the canteen in the north of the university. Jinghai University covers a large area, and Lin Xian is a bit lazy, so even when he's full, he won't go to the north side of the school.
But I've seen you before.
Li Mengyao spoke softly.
What did you say, honey?
Because the cafeteria was getting more and more crowded, and Li Mengyao was speaking very softly, he didn't hear her.
It's nothing, come on, have a bite.
Li Mengyao picked up a shrimp and held it to Lin Xian's mouth, but Lin Xian gulped it down. Lin Xian also picked up a piece of braised pork and offered it to Li Mengyao, who took a small bite and only managed to take half of it down, while Lin Xian swallowed the rest. While the two were feeding each other, they had already become the object of ridicule for the other students.
Look, isn't that the school flower of our university? And the one next to her is her boyfriend? Damn it, how come my goddess has a boyfriend?
Don't tell me, that guy is quite handsome.
What the hell, he doesn't deserve her.
Quick, take a picture and post it on the Campus Gossip website, so that guy becomes the enemy of all the guys at Jinghai University.
Snap.
A photo of the two feeding each other was posted on the Jinghai University Campus Gossip website.
Headline, Shock.
Jinghai University's campus beauty is eating in the cafeteria with her boyfriend.
Who is that dog man next to our campus beauty? The campus beauty has a boyfriend, my heart is broken.
It's just a boyfriend, I still have a chance, dog head.
Isn't that Lin Xianlin, the god of our computer science department? Let's all storm the computer science department tomorrow?
While eating his dinner, Lin Xian felt countless hateful stares on his back, which made him feel a little cold.
At that moment, Lin Xian's phone rang. 6:22. Zhou Quan, Xian, you've been exposed.
Zhong Zixing, remember to wear a mask at school in the future, just a friendly reminder.
Chen Jingming, ha ha ha, Xian, you're screwed. Lin Xian, what the hell is going on? Zhou Quan, the pictures.
It's just that there are pictures of you and Li Mengyao being affectionate with each other.
You've made a mistake. You need to be more discreet when you go back to school.
Li Mengyao saw that Lin Xian wasn't paying any attention to her and was just looking at his phone, so she scolded him.
Lin Xian, what are you looking at? You're not even paying any attention to me.
I become the enemy of all the guys at Jinghai University. Lin Xian laughed helplessly.
Ha? Why? Li Mengyao blinked innocently.
You see, it's all my wife's fault for being so beautiful. Lin Xian took out his phone and pulled up the campus information network for Li Mengyao. Li Mengyao covered her mouth and laughed.
Then I can't help you, you'll have to fend for yourself.
Soon, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao finished dinner, and the two of them strolled hand in hand on campus. At this time, Lin Xian still looked worried, as if he was afraid that someone would suddenly hit him from behind with a hammer. He still believed in Li Mengyao's charm, but was afraid that some people would not be able to withstand the excitement and go crazy.
Honey, do you want me to help you?
Seeing Lin Xian still looking nervous, Li Mengyao kept smiling to herself.
How are you going to help?
Lin Xian looked at Li Mengyao expectantly. Call me sister, and I'll help you. Li Mengyao tied her hair behind her ears and gave a happy smile. She had seen Lin Xian's ID card, and although they were born in the same year, Li Mengyao was a few months older than Lin Xian, and a few months made a difference.
No way.
Lin Xian's rarely seen little face flushed, and it was too embarrassing to call his wife sister.
I'm older than you, what's wrong with calling you sister? Just call me once. Li Mengyao pouted her lips, acting cute. If you call me sister, I'll give you a reward.
Li Mengyao continued to up the ante, looking at Lin Xian expectantly.
Really?
It'll solve the school storm for you and you'll get a reward, killing two birds with one stone. Li Mengyao walked up to Lin Xian, put her arms around him, and looked up at him with a slight smile.
If you don't call me sister, I'm not letting go.
Lin Xian looked away from his blushing cheeks and said softly.
Sister. You're such a good brother.
Li Mengyao's happy eyes were all smiles, and she extended her hands to hug Lin Xian's neck, kissed him on the lips, and then quickly withdrew. Usually it was Lin Xian who made her feel shy, but she never expected that today she would be able to win back around. She was so happy.
Is this the reward?
Lin Xian touched his lips.
Yes, you don't like it. Li Mengyao's elegant eyes blinked lightly. I like it, it's just too short.
Lin Xian said tenderly. We're still at school. The two continued to hang out at school, and Lin Xian kept receiving the hatred of the boys across the street, as if it was even worse than before.
Honey, didn't you just say you were going to help me? Lin Xian asked.
I did help, just take another look at the school information network. Li Mengyao pursed her lips and smiled. Lin Xian took out his phone, opened the school information network, and immediately saw a comment that had been pinned to the top, which was posted by Li Mengyao.
That's not my boyfriend, that's my husband. Chapter 26, Save the Galaxy in a Previous Life. What? Already a husband? Freshman, damn freshman. I don't stand a chance. I cried.
Brothers, it's time to unite and get rid of this guy. Lin Xian looked at the campus information network and felt a chill in his heart.
Wife, you.
At this moment, Li Mengyao took advantage of the fact that Lin Xian was looking at his phone and secretly walked to the front, looking back at Lin Xian every 10 steps.
Wife, you still want to run.
Lin Xian started to run quickly to catch up with Li Mengyao.
Don't come over. Ha ha ha.
Li Mengyao saw that her cover was blown and started to run forward at a trot. One ran in front, and the other chased after. In the silent campus, two cheerful laughter could be heard. Because Li Mengyao was pregnant, she didn't run fast, so Lin Xian easily caught up with her and embraced her tenderly.
Don't run around, be careful.
Li Mengyao straightened her messy hair and revealed a charming smile. Under the night sky, the campus, with its flowers, plants and trees, looked exceptionally quiet and mysterious in the moonlight. On the campus in the graduation season, Lin Xian and Li Mengyao strolled hand in hand. In the light of the moon, every step was full of sweetness. After the graduation defense, after Lin Xian's careful teaching for 3 or 4 days, Li Mengyao could already drive skillfully in the city. Coupled with the automatic parking function of the Xiaomi SU7, there was no need to worry about not being able to park. Today, Li Mengyao's university dormitory hosted a farewell dinner, which was also the last meal after graduating from university. Since they were all girls, Lin Xian didn't feel comfortable going with them, so Li Mengyao drove herself. When Lin Xian trained Li Mengyao to drive, he found that the girl learned to drive quite quickly and drove very steadily. "Hubby, I'm leaving." Li Mengyao wore a simple white dress, which highlighted her elegant temperament. She happily ran up to Lin Xian, gave him a soft kiss on the lips, and was about to leave when he pulled her back, knocking her into his arms, and kissed her cherry lips, which were painted with a light layer of lipstick. "I don't know how long it's been." "Come back early," Lin Xian said with a grin. Li Mengyao touched her flushed face and slightly red lips, and didn't forget to give a reply as she left. "Bad husband." Li Mengyao arrived at the parking lot, walked up to the Xiaomi SU7, got into the driver's seat, started the car skillfully, and didn't forget to take out the small mirror to touch up her lipstick, all so that Lin Xian would be left with nothing. Soon, Li Mengyao arrived at the dormitory building of Jinghai University and picked up her 3 roommates, who she hadn't seen in a long time. "Chen Man, wow, Yoyo, you've been driving for a few months now, and it's not even a cheap car." "Yang Lin, yes, tell us, we saw you make a grand declaration of love yesterday." Only Lu Yusin, who was standing nearby, knew about it all, but she followed along and teased. "Yes, our Yoyo has a husband and has forgotten her sisters." Li Mengyao, who was being teased by her roommates, blushed slightly and quickly changed the subject. "Stop it, you guys, hurry up and decide where to eat, I'm hungry." "Hey, that restaurant we went to last time wasn't bad, but there seems to be a new food shop nearby." "Oh no, I've got choice anxiety. I think that one is better." "No, I think the other one is better." And so it went on for 10 minutes, with the 4 arguing in the car, before they finally decided by voting. Meanwhile, Lin Xian was at home with nothing to do. He thought that the luxury store given by the system had not yet opened, so he decided to go to Jinwan Plaza to post a job ad. The first thing was to recruit a store manager. The store manager was responsible for everything in the store, including the operation of the restaurant, the recruitment of chefs and waiters, and the decoration design. This way, Lin Xian can be a hands-off boss and rest assured as the owner. Lin Xian immediately drove to Jinwan Plaza in his Maybach and printed out a job advertisement to post at the entrance of the luxury store. Later, Lin Xian felt that this method of recruiting people was too old-fashioned, so he also posted a job advertisement on a mobile recruitment app, offering a monthly salary of 20,000 yuan and 5 social insurances and 1 housing fund. These conditions should attract a lot of people, right? After everything was taken care of, Lin Xian drove home. On the other side, Li Mengyao was having dinner with 3 of her best friends. Li Mengyao told her roommates about the events of the past few months, but of course she didn't mention the pregnancy. "Ah, your boyfriend is really nice," Yang Lin exclaimed. "Yes, he's good-looking, cooks every day, and is very devoted." Chen Man agreed. Only Lu Yusin remained silent, because she knew what was going on, even though Lin Xian was indeed very nice. "Hey, Yao, you haven't even gotten married yet, so how can you call him husband? Did he propose to you?" Lu Yusin couldn't help but ask. "Not yet, but I'll get used to it after calling him that for a while." Li Mengyao's cheeks instantly turned red. "You really are infatuated, my big Yao." Chen Man said with a smile. "I remember that freshman year, you had a crush on him, right? So now your dream has finally come true. By the way, Yao, good men like this are very popular, you have to keep an eye on him." Yang Lin reminded. Li Mengyao also nodded shyly. "How can I not keep an eye on him? The baby is already here, and my Yao is going to become someone else's." Lu Yusin felt powerless to complain inside. Okay, we've finally graduated too, I wish us a bright future." Cheers. The 4 little girls clinked their drinks and drank. After Li Mengyao and her best friends had eaten and drunk their fill, Li Mengyao sent them back to their dormitory and then drove to Jinwan Square at full throttle, where she went into a jewelry store. Lin Xian really did attract a lot of attention, and she had met one yesterday at the entrance to the classroom. She needed to find something to prove that he was taken. So Li Mengyao thought of men's rings. "Welcome, beautiful lady, how may I help you?" A tall, good-looking salesperson approached. Yes, this was the same jewelry store where Lin Xian had bought the diamond ring, and even the salesperson was the same.
Hello, may I ask if you have any recommendations for men's rings? Li Mengyao asked quietly. Yes, please follow me. The salesperson guided Li Mengyao to a display case. The men's rings were displayed in the showcase, shining brightly, each exuding a unique charm.
Soon, Li Mengyao found a men's ring that she liked. It had a simple yet exquisite design, with a unique design that exuded understated luxury and elegance.
Hello, hold this for me.
Li Mengyao lifted her little finger and pointed. Okay, beautiful. The clerk then took out this men's ring and handed it to Li Mengyao.
You have a good eye, beautiful. This is the latest design, so it fits in well with the aesthetics of young people nowadays.
Li Mengyao looked left and right, playing with it in her small hands.
It was very nice. How much is this one?
It's 18,888 in total. Li Mengyao gritted her teeth when she heard the price and hesitated slightly, but she paid anyway.
Thank you, and welcome back next time.
The shop assistant packed the goods and smiled, thinking to herself which man was so lucky to have such a beautiful girl buying him a ring. He must have saved the galaxy in a previous life.
Chapter 27. I'm afraid you deliberately left some behind. Li Mengyao drove back to Jinwanfu.
When she arrived at the door, she held out her hand, and after the fingerprint was unlocked, Lin Xian was watching a movie in the living room. When he saw his wife come back, he just wanted to say something.
Honey, you're back.
Li Mengyao flashed past him and quickly jogged back to her room.
Lin Xian had a big question mark popping up. What was his wife hiding? She was being so secretive.
Li Mengyao let out a long breath after hiding the ring she had just bought, patted her little face, and then walked out of the room.
Honey, I'm home. I was in a hurry just now, what were you hiding?
Lin Xian pulled Li Mengyao and embraced her.
Nothing.
Li Mengyao's pupils suddenly contracted, and obvious nervousness flashed in her eyes.
Really nothing? Lin Xian gave his trademark smile.
That's a girl's secret, you're not allowed to know.
Li Mengyao's elegant eyes flickered lightly. Okay then.
Lin Xian saw that his wife was unwilling to tell him, so there was nothing he could do, so he simply hugged her and watched a movie together in the living room. After the movie, it was already 11 p.m., and the two returned to their room to go to bed. The next day, a phone call woke Lin Xian from his sleep. In order not to disturb his wife's sleep, Lin Xian walked out of the room to answer the call.
Xian, have you woken up yet? He, Zhou Quan asked. Quaner, why are you calling so early in the morning?
Lin Xian was a little puzzled. Generally, they would send messages to each other unless it was something urgent. But as soon as he heard Zhou Quan's laughter, he knew that it must be nothing.
Xian, are you preparing to open a restaurant in Jinwan Plaza? Zhou Quan continued. Yes, how did you know?
Lin Xian woke up a little.
I saw it on the recruitment software. Xian, you have a candidate for the store manager. Why are you asking? Xian, I want to apply.
Lin Xian was a little shocked.
Didn't Zhou Quan go to take the civil service exam? Didn't you go for the civil service exam? Why do you want to go into business? You didn't get in, did you? I've noticed that civil servants these days are really screwed up. You have no idea. I got 80 points and didn't even get to the interview. I heard that the top scorer got 89 points. Brother Xian, tell me, how sick are these people?
Zhou Quan complained.
Quaner, are you any good?
Lin Xian asked doubtfully.
Of course I can. My family owns a restaurant. Lin Xian, why don't you interview me? Zhou Quan said confidently. Okay, I haven't asked you for a while.
The usual place, the cafe near the school. Seeing his friend so confident, Lin Xian decided to go and have a look.
He knew the situation inside out, and it might be a good fit. Okay, Xian, I'll go order some coffee and wait for you. Zhou Quan said happily.
After hanging up the phone, Lin Xian returned to his room after washing up. Seeing that Li Mengyao was still asleep, he walked over and gave her a light kiss on her smooth forehead.
Honey, I'll be out for a while.
Okay. Li Mengyao's eyelashes trembled slightly as she responded drowsily. Lin Xian then walked out of the house and went to the parking lot, where he drove off in the Maybach towards the school. Soon, Lin Xian arrived at the coffee shop near the school. After parking the car, he saw Zhou Quan waving happily as soon as he entered.
Xian, over here.
Lin Xian sat across from Zhou Quan.
Xian, you interview me. Zhou Quan suddenly looked serious. Zhou Quan, I'm very happy that you've applied for the position of store manager. I'll ask you a few questions.
Lin Xian also began to look seriously at Zhou Quan.
After asking some simple questions about restaurant operations? Wow, you really know your stuff?
Lin Xian was a little surprised, because he didn't know much about this either, so he was planning to find a manager to manage the restaurant and become a hands-off boss.
Hey, Xian, did you forget?
My family has always run a restaurant, and I've been helping out in my family's restaurant since I was little.
Don't you think I can't cook? I can make you a delicious dish of 9 turning tripe. No, I'm afraid you've deliberately left some out.
Okay, you're hired, Lin Xian said with a smile.
Thank you, Xian. When do I start? Zhou Quan was overjoyed.
Once the renovations are complete, I'll give you a sum of money to get the restaurant up and running. As for your salary, we'll split the profits 30-70, 70% for me and 30% for you. If there are losses, I'll still pay you the monthly salary of 20,000.
Really? You're too kind, Xian. Zhou Quan was so happy he almost jumped up. Don't get too excited. If the restaurant makes a profit, we'll both make money.
But if it loses too much money, I'll fire you and sell the restaurant. Lin Xian still wanted to run the restaurant well, but he wasn't stupid enough to do a losing deal.
He would let Zhou Quan try first. If it really didn't work, they could still sell it.
After all, the system gave it to them for free, so it was a sure win. Xian, don't worry, I will definitely make the restaurant a success. The two men continued chatting for a while, and as they talked, they started to vent. Lin Xian, you said it yourself, why have I been so unlucky lately? I've had 6 consecutive big losses recently, I'm really fed up. Lin Xian coughed after hearing this, almost spitting out the coffee he had just drunk.
Cough, Quaner, I think you should change the game. Why are you telling me to change the game too?
That's what Jingming said.
No, I'll try again later.
Brother Xian, I'll go back first and try to finish the restaurant plan tomorrow.
Okay. Zhou Quan then went back to the dormitory.
Lin Xian saw that it was still early, so he continued to watch the phone while slowly finishing the coffee in his hand.
Okay, now that the little lazybones has probably got up, it's time to go back.
Just as Lin Xian was about to leave the coffee shop, a familiar figure appeared in front of him, his ex-girlfriend Yi Zixuan.
Yi Zixuan and Lin Xian were in the same year.
At the beginning of the freshman year, Yi Zixuan, who was crazy about Lin Xian because Lin Xian was good-looking, began to pursue him. After dating for less than half a year, Lin Xian couldn't stand Yi Zixuan's vain admiration and chose to break up.
At this time, Yi Zixuan had an outstanding appearance.
Wearing a white shirt with a black short skirt, she looked particularly enchanting. Lin Xian was a little surprised.
He didn't expect to meet Yi Zixuan here.
Yi Zixuan also saw Lin Xian, and a flash of arrogance passed through her eyes. Lin Xian had no particular attachment to Yi Zixuan, and after a glance, he wanted to leave directly.
What a coincidence, Lin Xian. Yi Zixuan spoke first. Well, it is quite a coincidence. Lin Xian's tone was very calm. How have you been recently? Yi Zixuan tried to make small talk.
Whether you are good or not has nothing to do with you, Lin Xian responded coldly.
Is this how you treat your first love? You're graduating soon, have you found a good job yet?
By the way, my current boyfriend is the leader of a technology company, and the salary and benefits are very good.
Since we know each other, I can help you if you want.
Yi Zixuan began to brag about her boyfriend to suppress Lin Xian. She just couldn't stand Lin Xian's condescending attitude despite his lack of money.
Then congratulations to you. Lin Xian just coldly replied and left without looking back. Chapter 28, I believe you. Lin Xian didn't pay much attention to Yi Zixuan and walked directly to the parked Maybach, starting the car and leaving.
As the car passed the coffee shop, Yi Zixuan had just finished buying coffee and had just walked out when she saw a long, dark Maybach drive past. The key was that she saw Lin Xian driving it, which shocked Yi Zixuan. When had Lin Xian been able to afford a luxury car? She hadn't seen that he came from a wealthy family even in his freshman year. On second thought, it is very likely that Lin Xian rented the car, and she once again looked down on him in her heart, pretending to be something. Lin Xian stopped by on his way home to buy today's ingredients. Soon, Lin Xian returned to Jinwan Mansion. As soon as he opened the door, a figure pounced into Lin Xian's arms.
Honey, welcome home. A trace of happiness flashed across Li Mengyao's face. I'm home. Have you eaten the breakfast I left for you? Lin Xian touched Li Mengyao's little head. Yes, honey. I've noticed that your cooking is getting better and better. It even tastes like my mom's. Li Mengyao continued to cling to Lin Xian. Of course it is. Go watch some TV in the living room, and I'll go get ready to make lunch. Lin Xian then plunged headlong into the kitchen and started bustling about, while Li Mengyao obediently went back to the living room to watch TV. In no time at all, Lin Xian had prepared 3 dishes and a soup, which were full of aroma. Dinner is ready, honey. Coming. Li Mengyao came to the dining room and sat next to Lin Xian to enjoy their lunch together. Wife, do you know that my roommate Zhou Quan has applied for the position of restaurant manager? Lin Xian said while serving Li Mengyao with food. Huh? Is that the cute boy I saw at the hospital last time? Li Mengyao recalled. Well, his family has always run restaurants, so he is very familiar with this field, so I'm going to give him the job. Lin Xian discussed with his wife. Just make the decision, I don't have any objections. Li Mengyao felt her heart warm. It seemed that Lin Xian cared about her very much and would consult her opinion. After a while, the two finished their lunch and watched a drama together on the sofa in the hall. When they got sleepy, they went back to their room to rest. Lin Xian lay next to Li Mengyao, thinking about it, and decided to tell her after all. Wife, actually after I went out to meet Zhou Quan, I met someone else. Li Mengyao looked up, her charming eyes looking at Lin Xian. Who else did you meet? My ex-girlfriend. Lin Xian didn't want to hide it from her and confessed. Then what? Li Mengyao's heart skipped a beat, she lowered her head, and her happy mood instantly dropped. She knew that Lin Xian had a girlfriend in his freshman year, so now that Lin Xian had talked to his ex-girlfriend, would Lin Xian change his mind and leave her behind? A pregnant woman's emotions fluctuate strongly. While she was daydreaming, her eyes began to water. Lin Xian soon realized that something was wrong with his wife. He reached out and gently hugged Li Mengyao, lifting her head again so that their foreheads touched. When they looked at each other, they could see that Li Mengyao's eyes were already slightly red. My dear, I'm sorry. I didn't speak to her much this morning, and I treated her very coldly. In my freshman year, I only went out with her because I was young and ignorant, and she was persistent. But we only went out for less than 6 months, and I found out that she was really vain, so I broke up with her right away. Nothing really happened. Lin Xian sincerely explained. Li Mengyao turned her head away from him, knowing that she had thought too much. When she thought about it, Lin Xian was not that kind of person, but there was just an indescribable feeling of discomfort in her heart. Did nothing really happen? Really? Lin Xian answered without hesitation. Then have you ever kissed her? Li Mengyao looked at Lin Xian again and asked in a low voice. No, my first kiss was for you. Lin Xian continued to hug her tightly and said tenderly. Li Mengyao didn't act childish after hearing this, hugged Lin Xian back, and buried her forehead in Lin Xian's sturdy chest. Thank you for confiding in me. In fact, I actually liked you in my freshman year, so I knew you had a previous girlfriend. Huh? When did that happen? How come I didn't know? Lin Xian was very surprised. So, my wife has liked me for almost 4 years? I was spying on you from afar back then, so of course my stupid husband didn't know. Li Mengyao continued to snuggle in Lin Xian's arms, her voice soft. In fact, Li Mengyao liked Lin Xian in her freshman year. Apart from the fact that Lin Xian is handsome and talented, there is also a little-known secret: Lin Xian once saved her. Li Mengyao started working as a part-time tutor during her freshman year. One night, because the tutoring session had extended, and in order to get back to school before the curfew, Li Mengyao took a shortcut. But she happened to be targeted by 2 small thugs. Just as Li Mengyao was about to despair, Lin Xian, who happened to be passing by, came to her rescue. She still clearly remembers the way Lin Xian wrestled with the 2 thugs. After dealing with the 2 punks, Lin Xian took Li Mengyao out of the alley and hurriedly left. At that time, Li Mengyao was wearing a mask, and coupled with the darkness of the night, Lin Xian did not recognize that it was Li Mengyao. Honey, I swear that if I am ever unkind to you and the babies, may the heavens strike. Lin Xian held up 3 fingers in preparation to swear an oath. Suddenly, Li Mengyao looked up and used her seductive lips to block Lin Xian's. I don't know how long it was before the 2 lips parted. No, you can't swear, I believe you. How can I not love such a wife? Lin Xian silently hugged Li Mengyao, and the 2 of them sank into a sweet dream. In the afternoon, Li Mengyao, who had woken up, began studying books compiled by teachers in preparation for becoming a teacher in the future. Lin Xian, on the other hand, quietly watched his wife in a daze. Ding dong, Lin Xian opened his phone. It was from Zhou Quan.
Xian good, take a look at my freshly baked plan.
Good guy, is Quan so efficient?
Lin Xian read it carefully and felt that Zhou Quan really had 2 brushes.
Xiangu, shouldn't we prepare the renovation funds? Ha ha ha. Wait for me in the dormitory. Okay.
Lin Xian got up, quickly changed his clothes, walked up to Li Mengyao, and kissed her on the cheek. Honey, I'm going out for a while to go with that kid Zhou Quan to look at the restaurant's interior design.
Go ahead. Li Mingyao's face flushed.
She had just been lying in bed, but in less than a few minutes, he had changed his clothes.
Do guys really change clothes that quickly?
Very quickly. Lin Xian pulled up in a Maybach and parked in front of the dormitory at Jinghai University.
Xian, I'm here.
Zhou Quan trotted over, opened the car door and sat down in the passenger seat.
Ah, the cushions in a luxury car are so comfortable. Zhou Quan looked very satisfied. Don't just enjoy it, here you go.
Lin Xian handed Zhou Quan an exchange voucher. Zhou Quan took a look at it and saw that it was a restaurant decoration exchange voucher.
What is this, real or fake? Zhou Quan doubted. Of course it's real. Let's go to the restaurant decoration company in Jinghai City and take a look.
Will this work? Zhou Quan has never seen anyone being able to redeem a decoration with just a piece of broken paper.
We'll know when we get there.
Lin Xian didn't give Zhou Quan the chance to continue doubting, started the car and drove off.
Now he has 100% faith in the system, how could it give him a worthless redemption voucher? Ding dong, a friendly reminder, this kind of store decoration redemption voucher can be used in the most high-end decoration companies.
The long-lost system sounded again.
Chapter 29 You really should die.
Soon, Lin Xian arrived at the Jinghai City catering brand design company in his Maybach.
After parking the car, Lin Xian and Zhou Quan walked into the design company. As expected, it was the best catering design company in Jinghai City.
The reception area was spacious and bright, with elegant and luxurious decorations, showing off the luxurious atmosphere of the reception area.
Welcome, may I ask if you are here to design the decoration?
A young woman with a tall figure, elegant temperament, and a professional outfit came forward to greet them.
Yes, we would like to ask about restaurant decoration.
Lin Xian politely replied. The young woman smiled and nodded. Okay, please follow me. Let me first introduce you to some of our company's design cases and styles. With that, she led Lin Xian and Zhou Quan to the display area.
The display area was filled with various exquisite design drawings and renderings.
Lin Xian and Zhou Quan carefully looked at them while the young salesperson introduced them in earnest.
Do you have any requirements for the design of your restaurant?
The young salesperson asked. We want the restaurant to have a fashionable and comfortable atmosphere, as well as a unique personality, Lin Xian said.
How many square meters is your restaurant? Where is it located?
The young woman took careful notes while continuing to ask questions. Our restaurant is 150 square meters and is located in Jinwan Plaza, Lin Xian said. The young saleswoman was a little shocked and paused in her note-taking.
Jinwan Plaza? That's a prime location, and it's 150 square meters. You two look very young. It's admirable that you're starting a business at such a young age.
The young woman quickly regained her composure and continued. She then recommended several suitable design styles based on Lin Xian's restaurant and gave a detailed introduction to the characteristics and advantages of each style.
Zhou Quan, which one do you think is more suitable?
Lin Xian wasn't particularly sure about these, so he left it to Zhou Quan. This style looks very good. We can find out more about the specific design details,
Zhou Quan said.
After chatting about the various details, it was time for the most intense part of the payment process. Please come over here to pay, the young female salesperson said with a smile.
Go ahead and give her this redemption coupon, Lin Xian said with a smile. Xian, are you serious? Will this really work? Zhou Quan was full of doubts. Lin Xian wouldn't scam me because he doesn't have any money, would he? When have I ever lied to you?
Go ahead, Lin Xian said with a mouth full of suppressed laughter.
You've lied a lot, haven't you? Zhou Quan thought to himself.
He had no choice but to go through with it.
Hello, is this okay?
Zhou Quan handed over the store decoration redemption voucher in his hand, feeling uneasy. This is the latest luxury decoration redemption voucher issued by the head office this year. The young female salesperson was stunned. There are only 5 of these in the whole country, and I never thought I would come across one here. The head office once said that anyone who encounters one of these vouchers should be treated according to the highest specifications. Joe Quan looked at the stunned salesperson in front of him and felt that he was too strange. His face instantly turned red. Xian, I told you it wouldn't work, and look, I've embarrassed myself. Lin Xian said with a smile as he walked over and asked. Hello, can I redeem this? The young saleswoman only then reacted, and hurriedly apologized. I'm sorry, two distinguished guests, I didn't treat you well just now. Shaoli, quickly get the two of you some coffee and bring over some snacks, the highest specifications. I'm really very sorry. Please follow me over here. The young saleswoman led Lin Xian and Zhou Quan to the other side of the reception area, where the reception area was luxurious and magnificent, with gorgeous carpets and sparkling crystal chandeliers, as well as luxurious leather sofas and huge LCD TVs, creating a luxurious atmosphere. Soon, 2 cups of fragrant guasha coffee and French pastries were served in front of Lin Xian and Zhou Quan. Zhou Quan was stunned by everything in front of him, the contrast was too great. Two distinguished guests, this redemption ticket has been successfully used. We will help you with the highest specifications of the decoration and the fastest speed. Do you need any other services? This time it was not the young saleswoman who came, and the general manager of this branch. He is a middle-aged man with a well-proportioned figure. His face reveals the traces of time, while his eyes are full of sharpness. Nothing, I will contact you if there is anything, thank you. Lin Xian smiled. Okay, here is my business card, welcome again. After saying that, the middle-aged man handed Lin Xian a business card. He was also very surprised why someone who still looked like a college student would have this coupon. He must be the child of some family. After a while, the two men, who had eaten and drunk their fill, walked out of the design company and got back in the Maybach to go home. Xian, how did you manage to do that? Zhou Quan couldn't help but ask. Quaner, don't pry into adults' business, just do your job as store manager. Whatever, if you don't want to say, just don't say. Oh, right, here, take this. If you have any problems with the renovations, just go straight to him. Lin Xian gave Zhou Quan the business card of the general manager. Great, Xian, where are we going now? Should we go out for a bite? Zhou Quan said happily. I fish. Lin Xian said firmly. Ha? I fish to cook for your wife. You really are something. Lin Xian saw that it was getting late, so he simply invited Zhou Quan to go home and eat together. Do you want to come to my place for dinner? Yes, Xian, you're the best. Lin Xian opened his phone and told Li Mengyao that Zhou Quan was coming for dinner. He then drove to the market and bought a whole fish and a catfish, preparing to make catfish cakes and garlic vermicelli with the fish tonight. The two quickly returned to the Jinwan mansion. Zhou Quan thought that what happened during the day had already shocked him enough, but he didn't expect Lin Xian to still live in the luxurious Jinwan mansion. Zhou Quan was slowly getting used to it. Lin Xian and Zhou Quan arrived at the front door, unlocked it and opened it. They saw Li Mengyao standing in front of them, smiling and saying, "Welcome home." I'm home. At this time, Li Mengyao had already changed into a simple blue home dress, exuding an elegant temperament. Hello, sister-in-law, my name is Zhou Quan, Lin Xian's roommate. Zhou Quan greeted her with a smile. Hello, come in. Li Mengyao poured Zhou Quan a drink. Zhou Quan looked around Lin Xian's home, a luxurious apartment in a luxurious residential complex with luxurious decorations. Alas, she really envied him but couldn't hate him. After all, he was still her boss. Quaner, come help in the kitchen. Zhou Quan's but had barely sat down before she was called to work. Although she cursed in her heart, she went reluctantly. Zhou Quan, can you really do whatever you want if you're rich? Lin Xian, sorry, you're right. Chapter 30, My wife is too charming. Zhou Quan helped Lin Xian in the kitchen, washing vegetables while Lin Xian busied himself cooking. Unexpectedly, Lin Xian really knew how to cook? Zhou Quan was stunned. Soon, 4 dishes in a soup were served: catfish cakes, garlic vermicelli with pollock, sweet and sour pork ribs, and celery and tofu soup. Dinner is ready, wife. Here it is. Li Mengyao happily walked over, sat next to Lin Xian, and Zhou Quan was on the other side, with Lin Xian sandwiched in between. There are new products today. Li Mengyao gave a smile. Try it. Lin Xian picked up a piece of fish cake and put it in Li Mengyao's bowl. It's delicious. Li Mengyao's eyes were smiling happily. You try it too, honey. Li Mengyao also picked up a piece and put it in Lin Xian's bowl.
Zhou Quan felt superfluous at this point. If he had known, he would not have come. He was already full before he even ate. But the food that Xian made really did smell delicious. Zhou Quan also picked up a piece of fish and stuffed it into his mouth. He was suddenly stunned, as if his soul had left his body. The fish was tender and juicy, melting in the mouth. Every bite was full of delicious flavor. It was truly delicious. This was the best fish he had ever eaten since he was a child. What's the point of hiring a chef? Xian is a great chef. Xian, this is so delicious. I don't think we need to hire a chef, you can be the chef. Zhou Quan came back to his senses and exclaimed in amazement.
No, I want to stay at home with my wife and child, otherwise what's the point of having you as the store manager?
Lin Xian continued to feed Li Mengyao. Zhou Quan was fed another wave of dog food.
And then his mind turned, hee, I got it. Sister-in-law, do you want to know the scandalous things that happened in Xian's dormitory?
Zhou Quan grinned like a thief. Ha! What kind of scandal? Li Mengyao raised her beautiful eyes, showing her curiosity.
Hey, don't look at Xian Gu as if he's fearless, but he's actually very afraid of spiders, even if it's just a tiny one. Once, a little spider, really tiny, smaller than a thumb, climbed onto Xian Gu, and he jumped in fright, flailing back and forth, and finally begged me to help him find it.
Ha ha ha.
And also, once I lost to Xian in a game, he teamed up with his roommates and almost took my pants off.
Zhou Quan, this behavior is killing the enemy by 800 and injuring oneself by 1000.
And also, in the past, Lin Xian liked to peek at pretty girls on the street. Lin Xian quickly covered Zhou Quan's mouth with his hand.
Don't talk nonsense, wife, it's not true. At first, Li Mengyao was smiling, but then her eyes became slightly cold. Husband, is it true? Of course it's not true, Zhou Quan was just joking, right?
Lin Xian let go of Zhou Quan and placed a hand on his shoulder.
Zhou Quan frowned and slowly said. Yes, sister-in-law, I was just joking.
You are so pretty, of course my brother Lin Xian wouldn't look at other pretty girls. Lin Xian picked up a piece of spare ribs and stuffed it into Zhou Quan's mouth, his eyes sharp.
Shut your damn mouth and eat properly.
Soon, the three had finished dinner. Lin Xian told Zhou Quan to wash the dishes, and then drove him back to his dormitory in the Maybach. Lin Xian returned to the Jinwan mansion and saw that Li Mengyao had already gone to her room to rest. He hurried to the bathroom to take a shower as well. After the shower, Lin Xian went to the door of his room and tried to open it, only to find that it was locked.
Honey, why did you lock the door?
Let me in, Lin Xian shouted from outside. I'm not opening the door for a pervert like you who likes to spy on pretty girls, came the voice of Li Mengyao from inside the room.
Lin Xian then scolded Zhou Quan, vowing to dock his salary in the future. Honey, it's not fair.
Zhou Quan and the others tricked me into watching, Lin Xian cried out in protest. After that, Lin Xian heard light footsteps and the sound of the door unlocking.
Honey, you opened the door.
Lin Xian quickly opened the door and walked in. At this time, Li Mengyao had quickly returned to the bed and was lying on her back facing away from him. Lin Xian also climbed into bed and lay down next to Li Mengyao. Li Mengyao suddenly turned around, their eyes met, and her beautiful eyes stared at Lin Xian. How did you get tricked? It was them who suddenly said, look, there seems to be something over there. I just looked over there and realized that I had fallen for their trick. Lin Xian patiently explained.
Why did they tease you like that? Li Mengyao's mouth corners rose slightly.
Because I was like a piece of wood at that time, I have a nickname called Lin Mu. Lin Xian smiled.
Really? I didn't feel like you were like a piece of wood, and you kept kissing me all the time. Li Mengyao burst out laughing.
Li Mengyao actually wasn't angry at first, she just wanted to tease Lin Xian a little bit. If she was really angry, she wouldn't have opened the door for him. It's just that his wife is so charming that he can't help himself. Lin Xian reached out and gently embraced Li Mengyao in his arms, savoring the faint fragrance.
You're so smooth. Alright, I'm going to sleep now.
Li Mengyao took advantage of the situation to hug Lin Xian tightly, and hung her whole body on him.
Good night, my dear.
Lin Xian left a kiss on Li Mengyao's forehead, and then they both fell asleep. A week later, the graduation ceremony was held at Jinghai University. It was a sunny day with a gentle breeze. Lin Xian and Li Mengyao entered the campus of Jinghai University with excitement and anticipation. The place was full of greenery and flowers, and there was a strong academic atmosphere. They held hands and walked through the tree-lined path on campus to the graduate dressing room. The room was neatly arranged with brand new bachelor's gowns. Li Mengyao helped Lin Xian put on a black robe, and Lin Xian helped Li Mengyao put on a square cap and tie a bow tie. The two smiled at each other, their eyes full of hope for the future. Lin Xian, dressed in his academic robes, looked dashing and extraordinary, his handsome figure standing out in the sunlight. Li Mengyao, dressed in her academic robes, was beautiful and moving, elegant and generous, her pretty figure becoming a beautiful sight on campus. The two went to the Century Square in the center of the campus. The square was spacious and magnificent, surrounded by magnificent teaching buildings and beautiful flower beds. In the center of the square stands a tall sculpture and the solemn school motto, symbolizing the inheritance of knowledge and wisdom. Standing in the center of the square, Lin Xian tightly embraces Li Mengyao, their eyes locked, foreheads touching. Lin Xian feels her warm body and gentle breathing.
At this moment, the reluctant Zhou Quan comes in front of the two. Stand still, just like that, don't move around.
Zhou Quan takes out his camera, adjusts the angle, presses the shutter, and records this beautiful moment. Although it wasn't beautiful for him.
Quaner, take a few more, Lin Xian said to Zhou Quan.
I know, if I die in the future, it will be because you guys fed me too much.
Immediately afterwards, Lin Xian gently kissed Li Mengyao's smooth forehead, and Li Mengyao blissfully closed her eyes.
The handyman Zhou Quan went online again, raised the camera, adjusted the angle, and captured this beautiful moment.